Yeah, 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 yeah. Shake it, but get pointing out all the lies, putting the scripture right in your eyes. The Bible guy, he reads Hebrew and Greek and shows you that your book's not unique. The Bible guy, he turns through the pages until every Christian rages. The Bible guy, watch one time and you're hooked. Now let's watch why the Christians get cooked. The Bible guy.
Howdy, folks. Bible Guy here, coming at you live from Northeast Texas. Glad to be back. We took a week off for my mental health. And let me tell you something. That week did not go by fast. I found out that 1 week is like a month in Bible Guy years. But you know what? I needed it, and I'm back, and I'm so ready to fucking go. So, everyone, make sure you tap that screen, share the live with those you love, with those you hate, with your friends and with your enemies. Let's get the word out there so we can have some interesting conversations and see if we can get some Christians who can come up today and give me a good reason why I, Bible Guy, should become a Christian. Northeast, I'm down near Galveston. Really? That's cool. I've never been to Galveston. In fact, I've never been to the ocean, but I really want to see the ocean. But the thing is, I don't want Galveston, Texas, to be my first experience of the ocean. Okay, but what's the Hebrew for wife? Isha, woman. But also, while I was off on my week, and this is something that I would love to hear y'all's opinions on as well. March 17th, Bethesda, the gaming company, dropped their latest update for Starfield, the Free Lanes / Terran Armada update. Send me a super chat. Tell me what you think about it. And you know what, if you're a Starfield fan, send me a super chat and tell me what is it that you are most looking forward to these upcoming updates. That's just my personal stuff. Godless Engineer says, how late are you planning on going today? Want to plan my live accordingly. I'll probably go until, let's see, what time is it right now? 2? Until like 5 p.m. as well in my live. So that'd be a good time for you to start yours, Godless, and I'll make sure to send people your way when you go live. Now, no way you're a Starfield fan. Yes, I am. I've been playing Starfield since day one. I bought it. I pre-ordered it on Xbox. And then, and now I've pre-ordered it again on PlayStation 5 because I really want to play on the PlayStation. Because we live in the end times, only Jesus saves. I don't think we live in the end times, but you're more than welcome to call up and give me a good reason to think so. Let's see. Did you convert back to your religion on your mental health break? Hell no. That would be that would have been really bad. Sadly, Christianity just doesn't do anything to help me with mental health. Love that shit. All right. Dr. Pepper for the win. I look super Texas right now. I got the cowboy hat, got the plaid shirt, and a Dr. Pepper in hand. I could not look more Texas right now. Now, let's see. Dude, this intro is insane. I love it. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Velvet Worm, good to see you. Fun fact to the Christians in the comment section saying it's the end times. Y'all have been saying it's the end times for 2,000 years. I'm not all that I look like I live on Aquila. You know, it's funny. I don't like Aquila all that much. It's got the cheapest home. Although I just prefer the UC, even though they're super heavy on the propaganda, the UC propaganda. But with the new update that came for the Trackers Alliance, the Lovers bounty gives you a really cool house of the Gagarin Villa. So good, love it. Any day now, any day. Cowboy hat on cowboy hat. It's a hat on a hat. Oh man. My curtain just fell down. Now I have to fix it. Good to see you. Good to see you too, Velvet. That was a sign from Peggy, by the way. She was tearing the veil. You need gift goals? I got a gift goal now. That's the first time for the people who are on TikTok. I guess on YouTube y'all won't be able to see it, but for the people on TikTok, I've set my first ever gift goal. 50. I don't know what gift goals. I guess. I guess I kind of understand it. You just send. See, we can send 50 hearts in the next 3 hours or something like that. All you're missing is the bandolier. Oh man, that's pretty cool. Although, would TikTok be okay if I wore a bandolier? Does the curtains match the carpet? No, actually, I used to, but now I've got all this hair on top of my head. Let's see, I haven't played Starfield in a while because one of the major lines were bugged. Oh, it sucks, but you know, they probably fixed it at this point. I haven't seen any problems recently. Hello, Dunkanites, indeed. Dunkanites, assemble. Let's see. I tried to it's gonna run great on the PS5, I agree. I tried to stay away from debates as much as I possibly could for the week. So that way, you know, but every now and then I scooted into someone. And in fact, although I did do a debate with I teamed up with Starfield Live. Maybe one day we'll do a Starfield Live. I did team up with Derek. Did a live call-in last Wednesday. Y'all should go check that out. I think I dual streamed it to here on my YouTube channel as well. But also apparently you guys really liked that video of us with David the Philbro when we first got to utilize the Philbro timer. And I understand because like it's so satisfying to watch. I sent you a few messages by accident because goddamn they like to say random shit. Who likes to say random shit, Lathe? Let's see. The guests? Oh yeah, they do say random shit, don't they? Wayne Pez says, big fan, love you, but no to the cowboy hat. I'm from Texas. I'm allowed to wear a cowboy hat. It's like literally like by right. I have the right to wear this hat. Quantanaut, by the way, congratulations on the publishing of the paper that you were the head on.
Preprint, technically. It is a preprint.
Okay, well,
Not
still.
nothing.
Not nothing. It'll get there.
There's still a ways to go before full-on publishing and peer review and all that. Good science takes time.
I gotta get you to start playing Starfield. You'll
maybe, yeah. Maybe after I finish with Cyberpunk.
I'll tell you this though, like any sci-fi game, it's gonna have some stuff in it that's not necessarily accurate. First, like
I'm not a stickler. Look, as long as it follows its own rules consistently, I'm fine with it.
They have a new machine in the game called the quantum entanglement machine. And I won't tell you what it does because it's too much of a spoiler, but I'm not quite, as far as I know, quantum entanglement is when you have two particles like very far apart from each other and yet they are interacting with each other. Is that what that is?
Their states depend on each other. However, it's not like how you often see it in sci-fi where if you wiggle one atom, the other one starts wiggling immediately. It's not like that. As soon as you make an interaction, it breaks the entanglement. So you can't like use this to send messages.
I'm gonna nitpick and see.
It's complicated. It's messy, but it is really cool though.
I highly doubt that Starfield's quantum entanglement machine has anything to do with actual quantum entanglement.
Probably not.
It does unbreakable encryption at any distance. Oh no, no, that's not what it does. Quanta must have a headache.
Yeah, no, that's what real quantum entanglement does. It does. You can use
send information.
Real life quantum entanglement to entangle or to encrypt information perfectly.
Could we use it one day to send messages across vast like text messages across vast distances instantly, like from Mars to Earth?
No, that would violate so much physics.
We gotta get on. We gotta figure out how to start violating physics, guys, because I'm tired of all these rules. We gotta find a way to.
The issue is that whenever you find a way to violate physics, turns out you're just finding new physics that isn't violated.
There you go. Velvet Worm says, "Do you have any complicated quantum entanglement pickup lines for us?"
Oh God, I should. I have so many cheesy physics jokes. I don't know if I have one of those in my reservoir.
Gotta get on it. That's the premise
But,
of the three body problem book and TV show. Never seen it. Never heard of it.
Oh yeah. It's a pretty good show. Although I'm waiting for season 2 to decide whether it's gonna stick the landing or not. But the idea that I had, that I pitched you, we got to do that at some point. I don't know if it may be like during dead time on a stream or offline. I think it would be so fun.
It would be fun. We'd have to. For anyone who wants to know, Quentin and I are might work on like a re-rendering of Genesis 1, but make it scientifically accurate. Like if we can, and which would prove that if we can do it, Yahweh could have done it. But you know,
yep.
You should be. Someone said, "I know scriptures you don't." Says you should become a Christian so you don't go to hell. Why should I think hell exists?
And if it does, that's where all the fun people are.
Right? Also, it's kind of fucked up if you believe in hell. All right, we have our first guest, Mick Kevido. Mick Kevido. I'm going to ask you 3 preliminary questions, and then we can get to the conversation. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old?
Yeah, I'm 22.
Question number 2, what pronouns do you go by?
He, him.
All right, and then question number 3, are you a Christian?
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm Dalton the Bible Guy. I'm not a Christian. Mick Kevitu, why should I become a Christian?
It's MC Kev, but yeah. Well, I feel like it's the right way. I mean, I feel like, I know. I mean, I know that God is the creator of everything. I think it's silly to believe that we're here by chance. I also believe that the Big Bang lacks theory, or if you want to call it the rapid expansion. And yeah.
That's a claim.
It lacks. Wait,
Given that we can,
it lacks theory? What does that even mean?
It lacks evidence.
It lacks
evidence, you mean?
Correct. Yes.
Is the universe not?
I believe that. I believe that.
A strong claim, given that we can see it with our, well, not with our eyes, but like.
Well, yes. Again, I can ask the same thing. Where did the Big Bang come from? And then you're going to tell me you don't know.
Well, yeah, because just the fact, just because we don't know what caused it doesn't mean that it didn't happen.
Yeah, like MC, MC. Yeah. Like, do you acknowledge that the universe is currently expanding?
Yes, correct. Yes, I do.
That's all the Big Bang is.
The Big Bang is still going on.
I believe that. But if the Big Bang has a beginning, where did it come from?
We're not saying it had a beginning. It's just an event that happened in the universe.
It always just the Big Bang wasn't, or people call it rapid expansion now, I guess, but it wasn't just was. The Big Bang it wasn't just was. You know,
we don't know.
It has a beginning.
No, we don't know that.
Why not? A claim that you're making, not scientists.
Yeah. Why should we think? Why should we think that? Why should we think that the universe, like the Big Bang, like suddenly came into existence from nothing?
Well, that's like me saying, where does time, space, and matter come from?
I don't think it comes from
anywhere. It might
have
always been there.
Yeah. Huh? Why should I think it comes from somewhere?
You guys are both talking at the same time.
Why should I think it comes from anywhere?
Well, you believe that matter or space-time and matter always existed?
It's a possibility.
It's possible.
Really?
We have not ruled that out.
Can we agree that space-time? Can we agree that time, space, and matter is a continuum? Like they would all have. They cannot exist. They cannot. Yeah, they cannot exist separately. They would all have to
continuum
at once. Correct. Same thing. You know, that's what I meant to say.
Well, yeah, space and time are like two sides of the same coin. They're a part of space-time, sure. And matter is something that can occupy
can we agree
space
that
and time.
Can we all agree that they came into existence at once?
No.
Like they cannot exist separately. Really? So
I don't
Because
have
I
any good.
don't,
So
I
space can
don't
exist
acknowledge
without
that there's
time.
a beginning
No,
necessarily.
MC, you said should we think that they came into existence at the same time? I'm not convinced that they
Can
came
they exist
into.
separately? Is my question.
I don't know. That's a question for
I
Quantum.
mean, I don't think that there was a state of affairs with time and no space, or space and no time. Although it is technically a possibility, but we currently don't have evidence for that.
Well, that's where I filled in the gap and I put God.
Well, that's
Just
lazy.
because you have an answer doesn't mean it's right.
Yeah,
Say it again?
let's say we're in a room of 10 people, and someone asks the question, "What's 2 plus?"
Now you're speaking hypothetically.
And yes, I'm gonna do that.
Again,
And if someone
hypotheticals, that's all
and someone
atheists do, is
and
speak
someone
hypotheticals.
and someone poses the question, "What's 2 plus 2?" and no one has an answer, and then one guy goes 5. I'm gonna plug in 5 there. Well, you can give an answer. That doesn't mean that the answer is correct. I don't care if you. It's just lazy. I need.
You're just speaking hypothetical. That's all atheists do. All atheists do is speak
That's all you,
hypotheticals.
you're just being intellectually lazy by plugging God into
you
your
know,
gap.
How so?
You know, engaging with hypotheticals is a sign of intelligence.
But that's all atheists do. They base their life on hypotheticals, correct?
That's not. No, that's
intelligence is being
every
able
single
to engage
atheist I
with an
talk to on
idea
here-
without agreeing with it.
Jesus Christ, Mix. You gotta let us talk, dude. And also, no, we don't all just engage in only hypotheticals all the time. That's a huge straw man. I will engage in I will engage. I just did, but it's not only what I do.
Your first claim was
I engaged when I started this conversation with you. I asked you, "Is the universe expanding?" That's not a hypothetical. So I don't just engage in hypotheticals. Don't straw man me, bud.
Well, I'm saying like the first question I asked you, and the first thing you give me is a hypothetical.
That wasn't the first thing I gave you.
That's all you guys do.
We are currently
I don't base my life on ifs.
Yes, you do. We are currently 5 minutes into the conversation, and I just now dropped the first hypothetical. So, no, it wasn't the first thing that I did, bud. Now, can you give me a good reason?
And like,
to
there's
think
nothing wrong with a hypothetical.
Yeah, smart people are able to engage
That's not like
in
a
hypotheticals.
checkmate.
Yeah. It just shows that you're not willing to engage with ideas because you're afraid of what they might lead you to believe.
Just not
Now, MC, that's a straw man. MC, can you give me a reason to think that time, space, and matter came into existence?
Well, yeah. I mean, there was nothing, and then
there
was no universe. There was nothing.
Prove that there was nothing.
Yeah, we don't have data that supports that claim.
Give me a second.
You know the Bible doesn't even make that claim, right, bud?
I'm pulling up an article for you.
Is it a scientific article, or
Yes.
Peer
from
reviewed?
like a journal, or peer reviewed? Does it use data?
Yeah, 1 second. I'm pulling it up.
Give us a sneak peek.
It's from sciencenewstoday.org.
That's not a scientific article. That's just like a blog post.
Can you give us anything peer-reviewed that demonstrates with evidence that there was
You
ever
can use like
nothing?
Google Scholar, maybe.
I'm pulling that up right now.
See, I don't know why Christians are hell bent on believing that something came from nothing when the Bible doesn't teach it.
This is why we need a better version of
Well,
Genesis.
if you believe something comes from nothing,
I don't.
We don't.
No, at no point have I said that.
You're the one who
everything
believes
that
that something came from nothing.
Well, everything that has a start has a beginning. We can agree on that now.
That's the claim.
Yeah,
Where's
but
the
why?
evidence?
Yeah, but why should we think that the universe has a start? It can have a start in the sense of at one point it was like a bunch of chaos and whatnot, and then it was like ordered, and you can call that a start. But like, why should we think it's a start in the sense of it once did not exist and then it came into existence? Again, not even the Bible teaches that concept.
And there's no data provided by science that currently suggests that is even possible.
Yeah. By the way, when you leave the screen, we can't hear you.
And he's gone.
1 second. Let me get the
He found out that he couldn't find any journal that supported his claims.
yeah. Gee whiz. All right, I guess we'll bring up the next guest. Jimmy Rizzo 30. Jimmy, I'm gonna ask you 3 preliminary questions and then we can get to the conversation. Question number
That
1.
sounds good. Okay.
Are you at least 18?
I'm 21, sir.
And what pronouns do you go by?
He, him, sir.
And are you a Christian?
If I told you my beliefs, you'd tell me I'm a Christian, but I don't consider myself a Christian.
Here, do you believe Jesus was the Christ and the Son of God?
Yes, and then you'll tell me I'm a Christian,
Yep.
and then I'll tell you, well, Christianity is a
definition, you are a Christian.
church-wielded weapon that's been used to actually
It can
lie
be-
to man and make man fear. But
That's-
then you
that's
tell me,
one-
well, I don't know enough about it to know that.
No, I know
Not
more
saying
than
that that's what you're gonna do, but
I
hold on,
know.
hold on. That
I
was
know.
not you. I
I
shouldn't have
know.
put that on you. Brother.
Yeah, but
That-
for this live, the definition of Christian is an individual who believes Jesus was the Christ and the Son of God. That's all. Anything else
but
is just
you do
extra
agree
superfluous.
with me though that you do agree with me though that most Christians disagree on just about everything.
Yep, which is baffling by anyone would consider this the truth. So,
Well,
I'm-
right. So it's just a misunderstanding of the truth.
I don't think it is. So, Jimmy, I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. I'm not a Christian. Why should I become a Christian?
Well, no, the Christians. I feel like the Christians are really wrong. I'm not a Christian. I just
Yes,
believe
you-
that
you
Jesus
are.
led the best example.
Do you think he was the Christ?
You mean like God is man? Yeah.
No, as in the anointed one of Israel, the one prophesied by the prophets.
That's a really weird way to put God as man, man. Like that was God as man. It was God in the flesh.
Christ doesn't mean God is man. You know the idea of
It's God in the flesh, brother.
that's not what the word Christ means.
Like, so Jesus never sinned, right?
I don't. No, I don't. I think he did.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
He
everyone.
was the one man that lived without sin.
That's the claim. Why should I believe it? But anyway, actually, I don't want to get to that.
Okay, so let's say it's false.
Wait. I don't want to get to that. Yeah.
I think that's a good avenue
Wait.
to
No.
go. Hold
Wait,
on.
Jimmy, chill out. I think you need
That's
a little
good
bit.
avenue to go, sir.
Jimmy, you need you need a little bit of education. I need to teach you what the word Christ means. The word Christ.
So you need to teach me about my personal relationship with Jesus, is what you're telling me.
Yes. So the word Christ.
Okay, that's really ridiculous, sir. But okay, I'll let you continue.
The word Christ comes from the Greek word Christo, and it means anointed one. It's a Greek translation of the Hebrew word Mashiach, which again means anointed one. There was an idea in Judaism, that was the religion of Jesus, that God would one day send a future king of Israel who would fulfill
You know what
prophecies.
Judaism believes, bro?
More than you do. Yes.
You know what Judaism believes,
really
that Jesus is boiling in excrement right now?
That's a belief in Judaism. Not all Jews believe that. Judaism isn't monolithic.
So what Judaism belief are you referring to, sir, in your contextualization of what is true about what is true?
Have you been drinking today?
Yeah, I was just about to ask.
Well, no, but you're just giving me like your definition.
bit early in the day for that.
And then I ask you, oh, well, so what about this?
This isn't my definition. Judaism wasn't even a monolith in Jesus's day. Like there were multiple kinds of Judaism, even in the time of Jesus. You are aware of this, right?
Do you think Jesus followed Judaism? Sorry, it's a lot of G and Jew.
According to the New Testament, yes.
Really?
Yes. Have you read the Gospels?
Well, Judaism at the time said you could only pray in the temple, or you could only worship church in the temple. And Jesus fundamentally disagreed with that. Where does
the Torah say
so
that?
why do you think they crucified Jesus?
Where does the Torah say that
why do you think Jesus was the outlaw?
Dude, you're all over the place. I need you to drink some water, put some cold water. Oh, he ran.
I think the Holy Spirit was with him.
He was
on spirit.
Yeah, he was on some kind of spirit. I was just saying. Jesus Christ.
Also, you need the "Why are you running" sound effect
Why are you running? Wait, what is that? Is that what is that? Is that a thing already? Is that a thing already?
What
Why
do
are
you
you
mean? Is
running?
it a thing already?
The sound bite. Why are you running?
Yeah. I don't know what you're pulling it from, but
Oh, I was just making because I was making a riff off that one African preacher who has said, "Why are you
that.
gay? Why are you gay?
Yeah, I'm saying
Why
that
are
you
you
should
running?"
put that in your soundboard.
Okay. Yeah, for real. I've got a lot of things I need to put on the soundboard. Yeah, that guy was here. This is if there's one thing I've learned about that I've seen time after time after time when it comes to Christians, is that Christians like to make claims about Jews and Judaism while simultaneously knowing nothing about Judaism. If you're a Christian right now and you're watching, I suggest you don't do that. Don't make claims about religions you don't know anything about, because I guarantee you don't know anything about Judaism. Speaking of people who actually do know things about Judaism, howdy, Rav Kavod.
Howdy, I missed it.
You missed it. I had a guy saying
What
that
did he say?
Jesus was, he asked, did Jesus follow Judaism? Oh, did Jesus follow Judaism? And then I was like, yeah, of course, that's what the New Testament says. He goes, but but Judaism says you're not allowed to pray anywhere but the temple. And Jesus didn't like that. So I asked him where it says that. And of course he doesn't know.
That's
So
weird.
yeah.
It's funny. I was actually just reading 1 Samuel like 17 or 18 when Saul is on the road to go see Samuel. He starts speaking in tongues, and they ask, "Is Saul one of the prophets now too?" And so, like, I just was reading that last night.
Yeah, I obviously, as you know, well, Christians don't really know anything about Judaism. They don't understand that.
You don't say.
What do they do in synagogues? They pray and they read the scriptures. Not just the temple. You can pray anywhere if you're Jewish.
Yeah, actually, halakhically speaking, the only house of Jews are permitted to pray inside of a mosque because it is not an idolatrous place. There are no idols or images. Unlike a church, Jews are not permitted to pray in a church because it's full of idolatry.
Oppo says somewhere Courtney is punching the air. Yeah, it's true. It's true. Jewish people are. I remember back when I was a Noahide, I was told that I was allowed to visit a mosque, but I wasn't allowed to go and pray in a Christian church because it was a house of idolatry, which it is. They worship a man as if he is God, and even some of them have statues of him. So but Muslims only worship one God, unlike Christians. We have a super chat.
From at Optimus Rhymes with the $9.99. Is it fair to say the Israelites were indentured servants since Joseph fucked them into debt? And I know Aaron just left to go meet Moses or something. Thanks in advance.
So, the reason why the Jews are at the beginning of the book of Exodus are like enslaved to Pharaoh is because of how the book of Genesis ends. Now, well, actually, now that I think about it, Rob, maybe you can help me remember, but I know that all of Egypt was an indentured servitude to Pharaoh at the end of Genesis. Did the Israelites, the Hebrews, also enter into that indentured servitude?
So I think that's sort of the presumption that happens between Genesis and Exodus. And I think everybody forgets that it's not that the 7 good years gave to 7 bad years and Joseph donated all this food to the food pantry. Yeah. No, he hoarded all the food and he profiteered off of it, and he took people's money, and then he took their animals, and then he took their houses, and then he took their labor. Yeah. And so I think for me when I teach this in our Torah study, it's so funny, people always are like, what, he set up the system, but it's to me the lesson is whatever you build today think about what you're building today and how it might affect the future generation, sort of thing. And I think that is why the Exodus begins with such a stark contrast.
Actually, I have a question here for you from Lathe of Heaven, saying, Rav Kavod, can you tell us the difference between Hebrews, Israelites, and Jews?
Sure thing. Okay, so Hebrew is a sort of a term, and it's often used as a pejorative. Archaeologically speaking, the best bet that exists is something along the lines of so there are these things called the Amarna letters, which are discourse between Egypt and its vassal states throughout the Levant, and it mentions these people called the Hapiru or Habiru or Apiru. And they're sort of like mercenaries. Think like Alibaba and the 40 Thieves, which aligns with the notion of Ivri, which is the Hebrew for Hebrew. And Ivri is somebody literally over there who lives sort of on the outskirts of society, is interacting with society, but is not really of society. And like, for example, Abraham is a Hebrew when he musters his retainers to go recover. He's like a warlord who goes to recover his kin who've been taken hostage. And then, there's the instance I'm thinking of, like Joseph is called a Hebrew when he's put into jail and he's like treated as an other. And so it's sort of this and also the Hebrews in the Book of Kings sometimes are on the sides of the Philistines and sometimes they're on the side of the Israelites. The Hebrews were known for making the weapons for the Philistines in the Book of Kings. And so there is this interesting sort of like, who are they? And like, I think it's more of a term and a pejorative that is saying like these people who are kind of outcasts of society. Israelites refer to this group of tribes. And it's interesting because, older books, I want to go through them more closely because older books don't list all the tribes in the way that Genesis lists all the tribes. And so I'm interested in sort of understanding this tribal amalgamation piece. But the Israelites are these people that exist in the wake of the collapse of Egypt and coalesce into this like mini kingdom that just is able to be successful because of certain mines like ore deposits and the fact that they're on the intersection of three major trade routes. And so Israel becomes this mini empire among massive empires. I always give this example, but like Egypt and Assyria and Babylon are like the LA Dodgers, the San Francisco Giants, and the New York Yankees, and Israel is like the Columbus Clippers. Just this, or maybe even like a high school baseball team, and so Israel is this the group of people that sort of emerge out of this power vacuum and coalesce as an amalgam nation. Jews refer to Yahadut. That's what Judaism is in Hebrew, Yahadut. And Yehudi or Yehud, Yehuda is the name of the tribe of Judah. And it is one of so the Assyrians split the kingdom of Israel with Israel in the north and Judah and Benjamin in the south in around the year 700. And this split essentially created two kingdoms. And the kingdom of Judah is sort of this group that is the last group to get exiled by the Babylonians. And it's kind of this, it's sort of standalone thing. And one of the goals of the Messiah figure is to reunify Israel and Judah and sort of create this kingdom of togetherness, if you will. And so Judah is essentially referring to this singular tribe. And if you look at like the book of Esther, you'll see sort of this burgeoning like Yehudi, which means like a Jew, meaning a person of Judah, referred to as its own sort of people group, if that makes sense. So, so Jews are essentially of this group. But this is not exactly accurate because Judaism now more or less is sort of this ethno group that has what appears to be like religious tendencies. But the problem with the idea of religion is that this is through the lens of Christianity. Christianity is a religion, and
Yeah.
religious studies compares certain aspects of Judaism to things like Christianity or things like Islam. But the reality is that it is far more tribal, far more sort of totemistic in its practice, as opposed to religious in its practice.
Triple JS says Christianity can help with a community. I already have community, the atheist community here, the Duncanites. I have a community already. B, grief. I have the tools necessary to deal with grief already. Like, as an atheist, I already have a way of dealing with grief. C, discipline. I have discipline in my life, so Christianity doesn't offer me anything there. D, gratefulness. I'm already grateful. Like, I don't need to believe in Jesus in order to be grateful for things. And then E, agency. I have more agency as a non-believer than I ever did as a Christian. So, like, triple JS, none of these things we've given me are good reasons for me to become Christian. A good reason to become Christian would be if it were true. I don't care about whether or not you think Christianity has utility. I only care about whether or not Jesus was who the New Testament claims he was, which I don't think you can make an argument for.
Actually, I have a question about that. If you believe in like Jesus and God and all that, but you don't want to worship him because, you know, he would be a monster if he were actually existing, would you still be a Christian?
You would be what's called a misotheist. And a misotheist is someone who believes in the existence of God and yet just outright refuses to worship them and hates them. In order to be a Christian, you have to not only believe Jesus was the Christ and the Son of God, but you have to like obey him. There's an obedience factor.
Yeah, because I feel like I'd be the first one. If he existed, I would not want to follow him.
Someone said mesotheist. I don't think it's spelled. I think it's mesotheist. Maybe. Here, let me see. Mesotheist.
Like Mesopotamia.
M-I-S-O, not M-E-S-O. A mesotheist is a person who harbors active hatred toward. Miso. I wonder why it's called that. Here, etymology of misotheism. From not.
But yeah, it's like that Marcus
miso.
Aurelius quote where you know, if there is a God and he's just, then he shouldn't care if you worship him or not. And if there is a God who is not just, then you shouldn't want to worship him.
It's from the Greek misos, meaning hatred, and theos, meaning God. So there you go. That would be someone who believes in the existence of God, but hates him, which is what a lot of Christians think we are. But we're not.
And I'm not sure if I'd hate him. I'd just be like a rebel.
Rebel scum. Let's see. So Christians, everyone, make sure you tap that screen. And Christians, come on up and let's have a conversation. Let's see if you can give me a good reason why I should convert to Christianity and become a believer and follower of Jesus Christ. Send in those super chats on YouTube and we'll read them. I don't care if you are someone who likes me or you hate me. If you say something nasty towards me, I'll still read it in the super chat. So, you know, it is what it is. But if Yahweh did exist, I would hate him. And here's the thing. I think I might end up, because humans have like survival instincts. If it turns out that specifically Christianity was true, and specifically the form of Christianity that teaches eternal punishment, I would have to kind of worship in order to just avoid. I mean, I think I would do it out of like survival. But the question would actually end up being, would that be enough? Would that form of groveling?
Yeah, I think so.
Or would I actually have to love him?
I can't convince myself that it's right.
Yeah.
I don't like pain.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's built into my evolutionary speaking. It's kind of built into me, which is why hell has been such a strong weapon for Christianity for the past 2K years. Because if you can scare people into your religion, it's a good mechanism for growing the religion. But also it's kind of telling that if you're a Christian and at any point in a conversation you start bringing up hell as an incentive for why you should become a Christian, what you're basically telling me and the audience is, I don't have a good reason for you to believe in this. So instead, I'm just going to throw out this threat to try to scare you into believing my religion. And that's just like what weak ass arguments you have to run to.
For me, it actually makes it like it's a detriment to the argument.
Yeah. Brendan says, why should I listen to you? I'm not asking you to listen to me. I'm asking you, Brendan, to give me a reason why I should become a Christian. Today's show isn't about me convincing you to be an atheist. It's about you trying to convince me to be a Christian, which is your divine mandate. Go out, make disciples of all nations. Let's see. If the flying spaghetti monster is evil, does that make him a miso-raменist? Miso-raменist. Oh, okay. Very good. Yes, nice. You would become a miso-raменist. He wouldn't be a miso-raменist.
I'm actually in my head trying to think like what would be my best argument for Christianity, and I'm like really actually like genuinely struggling to think like of something.
That would be a fun exercise if I had to come up and try to give reasons to believe in Christianity. The problem would be is that like I know like the rebuttal, so it's like I feel kind of icky trying to make the arguments.
I think my best argument would be something like you have access to a population size that presumably has resources that could make a significant difference in the world if collaborative enough.
Progressive Christianity is far superior to fundamentalist Christianity, and they actually do the things that Jesus said, at least in regards to social help. But we have a new guest. We have here Randy. Randy, I'm going to ask you 3 preliminary questions, and then we can get to the conversation. Question number 1, are you at least 18?
Yes.
Question number 2, what pronouns do you go by?
I'm a guy.
Okay, so the pronouns you go by are?
Oh, I don't care. You can call me whatever, but I'm a guy.
All right, he, him. And question number 3, are you a Christian?
Yes.
All right, I'm Dalton, the Bible guy. I'm not a Christian. Tell me, Randy, why should I become a Christian?
Because of all ideologies in the world, Christianity is the best.
I don't think it is. Why should I think it's the best?
Because it says to love your neighbor.
So does secular humanism.
Well, no, it doesn't.
Yes, it does. What do you think secular humanism is?
If anybody disagrees with you in secular humanism, you can outcast them.
So you can do the same with Christianity. It's called excommunication.
Yeah, but excommunication doesn't mean they don't love you. And they're not going to kill you.
Outcasting them. Well, first off, loving evil people isn't good for you. Like it's never gonna be a good thing to love Hitler. That's not good. That's just idiotic. So okay. if you're making the claim that Christianity is better because you unilaterally and unequivocally love every single person, irrespective of what they do or say, then that's not good. That's not good. I'm not going to will the good of someone who systematically oppresses people, genocides people. Not going to do that. That's not good. That's bad. That's not good.
So what would you? So you're arguing from secular humanism?
I think secular humanism is better than Christianity, morally speaking. I've never heard a secular humanist argue like make rape apologists. They've never apologized for rape. I've never heard a secular humanist ever say that slavery is okay. I've never heard secular humanism ever like put down women and say that they're supposed to be property or anything like that. But I do hear this all these arguments all the time from Christians.
From a secular humanist point of view, can 2 brothers have sex?
They can if they want.
And that's not bad to you?
Their offspring, or they couldn't have offspring. I mean, it's icky.
Okay, what about how is it icky though if you're a secular humanist?
Power dynamics that would make it an unhealthy relationship.
Yeah, there's a lot of
From a secular humanist point of view, how?
there could be psychological damages that might occur.
Yeah, exactly. So from a secular humanist point of view, if you're not going to tell them they can't do that, even though bad can occur from that, how is that better?
Well, maybe I mean I'm making the claim that perhaps if it's demonstrated that there are psychological issues that arise from that, then maybe you can make an argument for them that why they shouldn't do that. Now, here's
But
a
that goes
question for
against
you.
the secular humanist point of view.
In your worldview, is it okay to own slaves?
In my worldview, is it okay to own slaves?
Yeah. As a Christian, is it
No,
okay
not
to
from
own?
mine.
Why not? The Bible doesn't say you can't do it.
No, but the Bible says that if you have slaves, you should treat them humanely.
Actually, the Bible says that if you can beat your slave within an inch of their life, so long as they don't die after 2 or 3 days.
And isn't that better than other slave owners who would just kill their slaves?
No, it's as bad.
It's not better.
Why
Yeah,
wouldn't you
How
just
is it?
ban it outright?
How is that out? How is that just as bad?
At least
Do you believe in servitude?
at least the dead slave, their suffering is ended. You're prolonging the suffering of the slave that you're beating within an inch of their life.
Here's
Yeah,
a good
but they're dead.
analogy. If there was a country with a law that, and the only law from this country is that if you murder somebody, it has to be with a knife. Like there's no other method of murder that you can do. But that's the only
Right.
rule. It doesn't say that you can't murder. It just says that if you do, you can only do it with a knife. Is that a just law?
No.
No.
So you would agree with
Not
me
Same
really.
thing.
So it's not just when the Bible says you can own a slave, even if you're just saying, well, this is worse.
The
Well,
Bible doesn't say you can own a slave.
It does say that. Actually, Leviticus chapter
It doesn't.
25, Leviticus 25 specifically says that the slaves that you will take will be from among the nations.
This is in a generation where slavery is normal, right?
Yeah, a generation where God has dictated that you are allowed to own slaves. Is the God's law not perfect? Is the psalmist incorrect when they say in Psalm 19 verse 7 that the law of the Lord is perfect, converting the soul? And is Paul wrong when he says that the law of God is holy, just, and good?
Yeah. So if you're in a point in time in history, right, where everywhere around you look and you see slaves and
That's
slave
not what
owners,
I'm asking. That's not what I asked you.
It,
Do you agree or disagree
also,
with the
is-
Bible's declaration about the moral nature of the law?
well, yeah, the moral nature of the law is better than any other laws of slavery. When you look around and see nothing but slaves.
So you agree that owning slaves is holy, just, and good?
Yes, of course.
All right, then your worldview
Wow.
isn't more superior to mine. At least when it comes to the two brothers
Leviticus
fucking,
wasn't written in the 21st century.
doesn't matter.
Wild.
It
Does
absolutely
God
matters.
wait? Do you believe that God's moral compass changes? His standard changes?
No.
Because Jesus said that until heaven and earth passes away, which it hasn't, that not a jot or tittle will pass from the law until all is fulfilled, and that if you even break the least of these commandments, you will be called least in the kingdom of heaven. So, by that standard, the law of God is still in full effect according to Jesus, and therefore it is still holy, just, and good to own slaves. It might be illegal by the secular nation standards, but the Bible is fully okay with you owning a slave, and you should be okay with it too.
I think
Also,
that
America seems to be okay with it as well, just to be clear.
And also, like, just the fact that it was common, the whole point is that, like, he gives new laws.
well,
What's the point of
slavery
giving
is still
laws if
common
he's
to this
willing
day.
to hold himself back, right?
Yeah, slavery is still common today.
And it's still wrong.
That doesn't make it good.
Yeah, it's still wrong, but wouldn't those slaves prefer a Christian master
Wait,
over a
wait, wait.
They'd
non-Christian
prefer
master?
not to be slaves.
Wait, you said still wrong.
But
So
they
you're-
are slaves, right?
Wait. By saying still wrong, you are admitting that slavery is wrong, correct?
Yes. Yes.
So when God allows for slaves, that was wrong.
You should say yes. It's okay.
Was God? What, do you think God was just too much of a pussy that he couldn't like tell the Israelites don't own slaves? Like that was like too hard for him. He was coward under the fact that the Israelites wanted to own slaves, so he just had to like acquiesce to them.
They didn't even have slaves yet at that point, right?
Yeah, not even. Yeah. Well, no, the Israelites. Well, actually, some of the Egyptians offered themselves as slaves to the Israelites. So still, God is cowering at the feet of these Israelites, apparently. And either that or like Yahweh's just okay with slaves, and you think that's wrong, and therefore God is wrong for owning slaves.
They're starting a whole new society. Why not start with a clean set of morally perfect laws?
Not indentured servitude. I'm not talking about just indentured servitude. I'm talking about going out, buying slaves from amongst the nations and owning them as property forever, so much that you can even bequeath them to your children as an inheritance, according to Leviticus 25.
Generation to generation. Oh, sorry.
Are you a slave if you have to get a jab and wear a mask in order to be in society?
Nope. Because I can leave at any time. I can leave at any time I want. And I did actually.
You're gonna go.
I left my job.
Where are you gonna go?
Where are
you gonna go?
On my own. I live at my house.
To a place that doesn't have slavery.
Jobs aren't slavery. Here, let me be very specific.
Also, tell me you don't actually know what slavery is.
Right? Here, let me be very specific for you,
slavery is when taxes...
Slavery is when you are owned as property by another human being. I have never been the property of any employer that I worked under. They weren't allowed to beat me within an inch of my life. And they weren't allowed to pass me on to their kids. I could quit anytime I want. So let's not start... muddying the waters by pretending that having a job is the same thing as slavery. It's not. Slaves don't get to leave.
This is a product of secular humanism.
It's extremely dismissive too of the actual experiences of slaves.
What's a product of secular humanism? Me not liking slave?
No, wearing masks and taking jabs in order to be a part of society.
I love how you're comparing wearing a mask with like literally getting whipped.
Randy, it's because
like,
unlike you,
like, are you that much of a are your lungs that weak?
Randy,
well, as long as I wear a mask, I won't be whipped, right?
You won't be whipped.
Who's whipping people without masks?
Randy,
well,
you're
if I
such.
Can't go buy groceries.
Randy, shut up, Randy. Okay, you are. I'm sorry, Randy. If unlike the rest of us, you're just a piece of shit who doesn't care about the health and well-being of people around you. So, oh no. I have to wear oh no, I have to wear a cloth over my mouth. Oh, woe is me. Fuck off, Randy. That's nothing. And yes,
how are you a secular?
And by the way, Randy,
nothing.
I don't have to be loving towards you. You're a jackass. That's the difference between us.
Yeah, but you're a jackass.
I'm a jackass for good reasons. You're a jackass for bad reasons. That's the difference between us. I'm not the one over here saying I'm not the one over here saying slavery good. We should have. It's okay to own slaves. It's morally upright.
Slavery was good.
So you disagree.
Not right.
So you disagree with God then? God was wrong.
No, God put standards on if you owned a slave.
God, why didn't God say don't own another human being? Why was God such a pussy that he couldn't just say don't own people? God had no problems with telling people.
Why can't you not be a pussy and tell people they don't have to wear masks?
Randy, why God was able to tell
mask line?
I know it's so fucking cringe. Randy, God was able to tell the Israelites not to have any idols whatsoever. He didn't like regulate idols. He just said outright he banned them, even though that was normative in the ancient Near East. Why couldn't God also completely outlaw slavery the way he did outlaw idolatry? Why is God so weak that he couldn't do that?
Secular humanist. Why can't secular humanist?
Randy, answer the question. I'm not going to let you dodge. So answer the question.
I can't because I keep getting muted.
Maybe if you address what I said instead of
nice secular humanism. Okay. I can't. How can I?
Randy,
imagine being so privileged that you find equivalence between wearing a mask and being persecuted.
Yeah, I'm gonna keep asking you
Imagine
until
being.
I'm gonna keep asking you until you answer, Randy. Why couldn't God
I
man up?
can't answer.
Why couldn't God man up and outright outlaw slavery the way he outright outlawed idolatry? You answer that question, and if you dodge it, I'm gonna drop you and move on.
Am I going to get muted if I talk?
Answer the question.
Okay, so I'm not going to get muted. I can talk, right?
All right. You whine too much. Oh no, I have to wear a mask. Oh no, I have to take medicine so all my fucking neighbors don't die. Whatever happened to love your
Also,
neighbor
it's-
except for when you have to get a vaccine? What a dumbass.
Love your
It's
neighbor,
also been
except
like
when it's
4
inconvenient.
or 5 years since any sort of mask mandate in public spaces. Like, good lord, move on to something else.
I know. He's a conservative idiot who probably sucks Donald Trump's dick every time he gets it because that's his god. Not Yahweh. It's Donald Trump. All right, we're gonna bring up the next guest. Let's see.
Hey, Snitch.
Teska. Hi, Snitch. We got Teska Tlipoka. Teska, I'm going to ask you 3 preliminary questions and then we can get to the conversation. Question number 1, are you at least 18 years old? They're loading in still. It's also been 100 years since slavery. Nope, we still have slaves, Randy. The American prison system is jacked
13th
up.
Amendment.
Yeah, 13th
Do you know
Amendment.
that it costs McDonald's 13 cents a uniform because that's what they're paying?
I don't. Teska, are you here? For some reason, they're not showing up.
He said hello.
Okay. Teska, I can't see your icon, but I guess I mean you're here. So Teska, are you at least 18? There you are. Are you at least 18?
Hello?
Hello? Are you at least 18? Teska, are you at least 18?
Let us pray for their connection.
Right? Gee whiz. I'm going to give you 5 seconds, Teska. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Anyways, I guess we'll bring up Matek. Matek.
How we doing?
Are you at least 18 years old?
Yeah, man, I'm 23, man.
And what pronouns do you go by?
Me, he, and him. Hopefully that's correct.
Sure. I mean, it's correct, whatever you choose. And then question number 3.
Man.
Are you a Christian?
Oh, you know what? I would have to say so.
All right. I'm Dalton the Bible Guy. I'm not a Christian. Matek, why should I become a Christian?
Can I ask you a question before I answer that, please?
No.
So my question to you... Oh, that's all right. Let me just go through the passage then. Essentially, basically, the reason you should become a Christian is because what it teacheth. What does it teach? Many things of values. How do we know this? Because of cultures of who have them. If you go to Poland, for example... Actually, let me not use Poland as an example. Let me use Lithuania. If you go to Lithuania, go to their countryside. Go to the granny...
Matek. So I don't care about that. I only care about whether or not the claims of Christianity are true. Like, was Jesus the Messiah? Was he the Son of God? Did he resurrect from the dead? Is the Bible true? I don't care about whether or not it's like you think it's useful.
Why should I become a Christian? A being was of answer of that prompt and he was shot down to go to a different direction. However, one was going to say 5 sentences, but he was disturbed to say 3 sentences. Now you have not a realization of what the 5 sentences is going to be. But let's go to a different conversation.
I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. So why should I become a Christian?
His claim is enculturation,
You know
is what
what?
he was trying to say, just in one word. Like he was saying that Christian culture will make people more civilized. That was what he was saying.
Oh yeah, we don't care about that. I only care about whether or not Christianity is true, like whether or not the claims it makes are true. Like, was Jesus the Messiah? Matek?
Also, didn't Christianity start a lot of wars? Like, that doesn't make sense.
Almost all of them.
Yo, tell me if you can hear me by any chance. I live on an island, you know, so sometimes the connection's terrible.
Yeah, why should I? Is Jesus the Messiah, Matek?
Jesus is God, as I is God too, by the way. That's the teachings of the Jesus. You know, the guides and the mentors on my island, they come
Fun
back.
fact,
Yes,
Matek. Fun fact. I did not ask if Jesus was God. I asked if he was the Messiah.
Aren't you of the realization of the what word the God of the compasses of all?
I have no idea what you just said.
Sorry, I'm from an island, so the actions are crazy. So if you have no understandings, do let me know, and I shall reassert. Now, I tell you this: God means all.
Here.
So if I say God, you, the answer is yes.
So Matek, my advice is whatever you've been smoking, stop doing it before you come on live. Jesus Christ, those were words, certainly. And they were in an order, but sadly they didn't have any meaning.
Were they in order? Not too sure.
They were in an order. They were in an order.
Yeah, I can agree to that.
All right, we're gonna bring up Duncan. Duncan versus Duncan. Duncan, I'm gonna ask you 3 preliminary questions, and then we get to the conversation. Question number 1: are you at least 18?
I am.
Question number 2: what pronouns do you go by?
He, him.
And are you a Christian?
I'm an ex-Christian.
Oh, okay, so you
no.
don't. Okay, we are only bringing up Christians right now, Duncan. But is there something you'd like to ask, or before you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I understand that, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Shut up. What up, Quad Nut, Neutrino Man, my dude. I grew up with. Sorry, go ahead, Quad Nut. All right, maybe not. Anyways, so I did grow up with a mother who put me through Bible school, and even though I'm not Christian anymore, I do think some people can really benefit from Christianity. So even though I have more of an atheistic point of view now, personally, I do think that some people can benefit from Christianity. So I came here with that point of view. But if you want pure Christians, I understand that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just not one of those people. I won't benefit from Christianity.
But can I put some arguments forward
for why I personally would benefit from Christianity? Because this is about why I should become a Christian.
Sure. Yeah, I could put it from that point of view.
All right. Well,
I feel like
I don't know you personally, but
how would I benefit from it?
I could put some point of views forward.
Because I'm an ex-Christian, and I can tell you, I definitely did not benefit from Christianity. It was only detrimental to me.
What was your problem? What was your problems personally with Christianity?
It required me to leave my brain at the door, first and foremost. It also stifled my sexuality as well, which is unhealthy. A constant feeling of guilt for something I didn't do is not healthy. Yeah, I mean, all around it just wasn't good for me.
Do you mind if I ask you what type of
sorry, 1 second. Yeah, what is that, Snitch?
I just wanted to mention, I feel like the only real people who would benefit from Christianity are straight white males.
Yeah. And I'm a white and I'm a male, but I'm a little bit fruity sometimes. So I you know.
I don't know. I'm all of those things. I don't think it'd benefit me either, to be honest. It's that's the only demographic it could possibly help. But
yeah,
even
that's what I was.
Case.
No, sorry, that's what I was basically referring to.
Yeah, do you mind if I ask you what type of denomination you were?
I grew up Protestant evangelical, but I also at one point practiced Hebrew roots movement, and then later on Catholicism.
I mean, Catholicism is especially judgmental. I mean, there's some sects of more progressive, weirdly enough, Lutherans, and there's other sects that are a little bit more different, like The last pastor of my church, which didn't survive in the Northeast, was a homosexual woman. So, and definitely we lost some old timers in my mother's church for that. But the fundamental teachings of Christianity are more tolerant than what's practiced. That's obvious. Christianity does do a good part as far as if people need environment of, if there is, because I try to dissociate the church with the overall sex. There are certain churches that do promote long-lasting supportive friendships and social safety net for people.
Here, maybe I can make it easier this way. What can Christianity provide for me that I don't already have, that I do need?
Well, I don't know you personally again, but for some people it does, who are kind of more lost in their lives.
I'm not.
So for me personally, I did struggle with substance abuse issues for a while. In that community, they do sometimes put worldviews that kind of help make people get answers to difficult questions when it comes to truth or significance in a complex world. I would say that.
But I'm not lost.
I have seen it work for some people.
I'm not personally lost though. So that's wouldn't be a reason for me to be Christian.
Okay.
Also, I used to struggle with bad eating habits. If you know what I mean by that, it's just I'm doing it for the TikTok thing. I used to struggle with bad eating habits, and when my religious family counterparts tried to push religion on me to try to quote unquote heal me from that, it actually made me ask more questions and made me blame myself more. So I actually rather than looking at it as like an objective scientific disorder that I could actually heal from if I just took the right behavioral change mechanism steps, and behavioral change sciences is like an actual field. And so for me personally, I can't speak to everybody's journey with bad eating habits, but for me personally, religion really actually made things worse.
Fair enough. I mean, so so once again, I don't know you personally, but I'm assuming on this app it's hard to deal with people like Randy, who just came up here and are very difficult and very intrusive. I mean, you come from basically, I don't know your whole upbringing, but I'm assuming you had a tough time fitting in and feeling like you belonged, and told that some of the decisions you were making were wrong, even though you just want to live a happy life.
But doesn't that tell you something about the nature of Christianity? Is that every person seems to have their own version, and there's no sort of cohesiveness, and even within communities, people don't actually talk about any of the details. So it ends up being this complete free for all, where everybody is, they say that they are, determining these things by their own sense of their Holy Spirit, but then it ultimately is just them interpreting whatever it is that they please to interpret, and nothing more than that.
That's a fantastic point. I don't want to interrupt anyone else to put it, but that was kind of the point I'm making, is where if you find the ambiguity of taking what you want and making it yours, I think because it's not definitive, if you find a church that actually supports you and you can find like-minded people to be around, I think that's always a good thing to have.
I already have
if you could find that church in your area.
I already have that though as an atheist.
Yeah, and also just to give some contrast, I grew up completely non-religious. In fact, a good chunk of my childhood, I barely even knew what religion was, because just my family was so agnostic that it wasn't even really a topic that was brought up. I had a fine childhood. I have all the things that I feel like I need, and I've never encountered a Christian that has offered something that I don't already have in abundance that I want.
Question, Quite you grew up agnostic, not an atheist?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up not really even for example, when I encountered the show Bible Man. I don't know if you know that show. When I was little, I thought it was completely fictional, like in the way Spider-Man is fictional. I didn't know that anybody took any part of it seriously at all. So my conception of religion was, purely from Veggie Tales and Bible Man. So I didn't have any idea that people actually thought it was, real. So yeah, no, I was agnostic for most of my life, and then once I, got into around like early high school and actually started looking into it and started realizing what people actually believe, I'm like, oh, wait, people think that's real? What? That's weird.
The irony of me growing up watching Bible Man, thinking he was cool and wanting to be him when I grew up, only to become the Bible guy.
Yeah.
But Duncan, it doesn't look like Christianity has anything personally to offer me, and like really the whole point of this episode.
One more. Yeah, I'm trying to. I like this conversation, friend of Quatnot, like what you're doing. So I'm just trying to put something to get the conversation going. But I have one more point, and that'll be my last. For now. Once again, thanks for having me up. It's been great. It's good to see Quatnot up here. One of the smartest people I've ever heard speak, and it's weird to see him in a controversial conversation, but I respect him a lot, and just to be on the panel with him and talk about this it's one of my personal interests. But
look, I debate with flat earthers all the time, and they so often use the Bible to justify their positions. So
that's where I met you.
Really
I've been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I've been taking a break for a while, but I've been doing that kind of conversation with not only them, a lot of just conspiracy theory in general for years and years. And religious debates is one of the things they used to specialize in here for a long time, coming from a background of Christianity. But I'll say from this perspective. So, Bible, you say that everything you need is within your atheistic community.
Yeah, I mean, I get everything I need from either my community or secular humanism, or just good old fashioned ethics. Like, there's nothing that Christianity can offer me that I don't already that I don't already have.
I'll argue this point. So personally, I'm agnostic pantheist, which sounds very. It's something when someone says it in the face, because it just sounds like a dickhead thing to say. But in essence, I think the universe is God itself. But I started with agnostic because I think it's beyond me. But I do still have. So when I went from a strong Christian family to then kind of personally discovering myself, and then finding where I was, when I was purely around people who thought just like me, I eventually realized, I mean, I'm 38 now, that I wasn't getting perspective. And for a long time, I did cancel out a lot of my hardcore Christian friends that I grew up in the church. Now I'm a little bit more older, and I do look for them because I think no matter what, and Quanat, you're in circles where you understand this in the science community, and sometimes in these debates when it comes to like globers, flat earthers, where sometimes if you get into an echo chamber where just people who only agree with you, then you're kind of missing a little bit of one side of the puzzle.
I think you misunderstand. I mean, just because I'm not in like a church or anything doesn't mean I'm not exposed to people of different religions. Like the people I work with every day are from a whole variety of backgrounds. So I expose myself too.
That's what I'm saying. Like you could probably understand this perspective where like sometimes an alternative.
And I am so exposed to people of different beliefs that I had to take a week off just for mental health purposes because I talked to Christians, hundreds of Christians.
Yeah, and me too. And I'm also in a field of science. I'm more biomedical, so I deal with more than two atoms, unlike a quant.
That's what I always like to say, yeah.
So yeah, it's not just
you can't convince me 3 or more atoms exist.
You can't convince me cells don't exist, quant.
So here's the problem. Pantheism is cool and all, but and I fiddled with it for a second, but at the end of the day, I just had to come to the conclusion that if the word God just means everything, then it's like a meaningless word. Like we already have a word for the universe. It's the universe. You don't have to call it God for it to be special. I already have and I'll say this word very loosely, very spiritual, and I have a very spiritual like relationship with the cosmos. Like I recognize that every single atom, every single subatomic particle in my body was at one point like together at the very beginning, and that I am related to the animals, I'm related to the plants, every biological organism on the planet, I'm related to them in some way. So I feel an interconnectedness with the universe, and I feel grateful for being here, but I don't need to call it God. And I think to call it God kind of takes away meaning from the word God.
Well,
There's a great quote. Sorry, just quickly. There's a really great quote, which is that, "Isn't it enough to think that a garden is beautiful without having to believe that there are fairies at the bottom?"
Yeah.
Pretty good quote. My version of pantheism is more of a theology, but it can be changed. I mean, my version is just God is existence itself. Easy to say, hard to unpack, but I don't believe in divine providence. Some people believe in divine providence as well. I know.
The problem of holiness is that it is relative to something else. So if you're saying that God is everything, there's nothing to distinguish, and therefore it's self-defeating. Holiness is only holy because it is relative to something that is not holy.
Yeah.
Also, I would just want to mention, by the way, I'm sorry for my voice being so screwed up today. I lost my voice due to laryngitis. But something I would also mention is that like the human body and like human diseases are so ruthless and just unforgiving. Like, for example, my laryngitis coming with every single cold I've ever had in my life. That like I can't imagine associating God with anything that has to do with life, because it is so ugly, so unforgivable, so random and unexpected that like you could wake up the next day and be diagnosed with stage 4 cancer and not even know it. In fact, one of my mutuals actually had that happen to her. So it's like, why would I ever believe that the universe is God when the universe is so unforgiving, cold, and horrible? If I did believe that, I would think that the universe as God is an evil, disgusting being.
I think you're touching on the human emotions. Yeah.
I did want to add briefly to that by saying that coming to that realization that the universe is very cold and almost heartless on its own, I think leads you to a better view of like how we should act. Because yeah, the universe is cold and cruel and everything, so we should do everything in our power to make it less so. But if you held the view that there is some like big divine plan, then now there's no reason for me to try to make the world a better place, because clearly somebody's got it all figured out, right? Why should I have to deal with it?
Yep, that's divine providence, and that's why I don't subscribe to divine providence myself.
But Duncan, I do have another guest waiting, and hopefully they might be a Christian. So thank you for coming up, and you have a wonderful day.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
All right. Hopefully the next guest will be a Christian, and then after the next guest, I'll read some super chats, y'all. Everyone say hi to Bible Dog. She's here. Say hi.
Bible Dog.
Say hi, everybody.
It's so small.
Oh my God, it's so cute.
And Snitch, I hope you're having lots of hot tea and honey.
I am. By the way, I got my CT scan files back.
Do you watch the Burnt Peanut? He's my favorite Twitch streamer. I really love his streams.
Whoa, James. They were in the middle of saying
I love the
something
Burnt
about it.
Peanut. You shouldn't become Christian, by the way. But
Anyways, go on, y'all. Keep talking.
Your CT scan.
Yes, I have my CT scan. So let me know if you want me to send over the files.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to send me them to make a printable model of whatever you got, because this is my own skull from my own CT scan, which is so cool. I love the fact that I can hold miniature, but a version of my own skull.
I'll put it in my office and have it there for the rest of my master's and PhD. That's how much I will treasure
so fun. I even have, obviously it's less resolution, but I have my own brain as well.
Want to read some super chats? Okay. Okay, let's see what we
have
for
super chats. That is so cool.
We have at Steve Deere with the $5 saying, maybe Randy's mask was made of a mixture of linen and wool. In which case, I mean,
hey, maybe that's why Randy was so opposed to wearing his mask, because, well, probably not. Randy's doesn't strike me as the kind of person who actually does what Jesus tells him and keeps the law of Moses. So I don't think Randy would have given a shit about that. And then
At or in fact, with a more northern innocence, Randy is just as much of a wuss as his god. Hashtag strap or dunk.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Randy's God apparently couldn't, gird his loins to tell the Israelites, no slaves. And Randy is just the same. That's all it is. Y'all want to see my mask? I still have my mask from back in the day. It's actually really good looking. I like, oh, almost dropped my Dr. Pepper. Here, wait a minute. Look at the design. Oh, it's like a nice little cloth, and it's got like these leaves on it and
This
stuff.
is my A and P mask.
That's a little bit more hardcore than mine. What are you doing? Hey, don't eat that. Don't eat that. Hey, no, whatever you got, don't eat that. I need to sweep in here now. Here, I'm gonna get her a treat. Let's see. You want a treat? Yeah, you do. Here, I guess I'll take you guys with me. Wait a minute.
Oh, we're going on a tour.
Oh yeah, I know how to do it now. And if I just get my iPad out and then screen share my iPad and then turn my camera on, you can basically get to see whatever I see. Wait a minute.
Oh, also, I don't think I've shared it on here, but I printed a slice of my nose and septum, so you can see just how deviated it was.
All right.
Your turbinate is so big. Did you get a turbinate reduction?
I did, yes.
Oh, I just got a bed.
Hey!
Yeah, up until this point, I've been sleeping on an air mattress to make room for the desk.
Ooh, you're pretty quiet. I think your microphone is.
Oh right, yeah.
You
aren't gonna be able to hear me. I'm just going to walk, and y'all just see what I get from a tree.
We can kind of hear.
House tour. Another dog.
House tour. House tour.
The plagues of the frogs.
Which reminds me, one of my favorite horror movies of all time, it's called The Abominable Dr. Phibes, is about a somebody who has a PhD in theology whose wife dies on the operating table, and as revenge, he kills each of the doctors using one of the deadly plagues of Egypt.
Jeez. Sorry.
Yeah.
Does he use the bubonic plague?
No. I mean, each of the plagues, like frogs, boils, hail.
Oh, yeah, that's what the boils are, like the buboes.
Yeah, no. For that one, he released a bunch of killer bees in a guy's library.
Oh my God.
No, he should have released the Black Plague on the doctor.
That's what I said.
Yeah, it should have been the Black Plague. Then they would have died from the actual, the buboes, the blisters.
Unfortunately, I mean, they're all themed after the deadly plagues, but they're not directly like. For instance, the frogs one. He goes to a masquerade and gives some guy a big frog head, and it tightens around his neck very slowly.
So now you guys get to see my house and my dogs and my outside and everything. All right. I'll bring up the next guest now. We got Preston here. Let's see. Preston, I know we've spoken quite a few times, if I can remember. I'll just ask you the 3 preliminary questions. Question number 1, are you at least 18?
Yeah.
And question number 2, what pronouns do you go by?
Wait, sorry. You said I've never been on. I just found your live. I've never talked to you before.
Oh, I talked to another Preston, I guess. And what pronouns do you go by?
What do you mean?
Like, do you go by he, him, she, her, they, them?
What? I'm a
Just
guy.
Trick question.
Just pick one.
Why do I have to pick one?
So that my audience will know how to refer to you in the third person if they don't want to use your name.
Okay, they can just go off my gender,
I didn't ask
which
about
is
your
a
gender.
man.
I didn't ask about your gender. I asked what pronouns you prefer to go by.
Yeah,
Could have
but can
been
you hear my voice? Like, do I sound like a woman?
yes, Preston. We could have already gotten to the conversation at this point.
All right, he, him. I'll he, him.
There we go. Jesus Christ.
Easy.
Hope that's not going to be indicative of the rest of this conversation. And then final question, are you a Christian?
Yeah.
Shocker. All right. Preston, I'm Dalton the Bible guy. I'm not a Christian. Why should I become a Christian?
Well, how come you're not a Christian?
I've been given no good reason to be a
Like-
Christian. Would you like to give us a good reason?
How do you think you're alive then? Like at all?
My parents fucked.
Like just from nothing, right?
No, from sperm and egg.
Okay, sure. So how did those function? Where'd they come from? Like
Evolution.
That's a Stitch question.
So instead of asking me where I think things came from, can you give me any positive evidence for why your beliefs are true?
Sure, because it would be impossible for nothing and nothing to make something, especially this complex.
Oh,
Can you
that's
give
not
me,
how life formed.
also, can you give me any evidence that there was, I don't think there was a nothing. Can you give me evidence that there was ever nothing?
Yeah, because everything needs a cause. So if there wasn't like a first thing, then you just have
Does
nothing.
God need a cause?
No, because he's the uncreated creator, ex nihilo.
Ex nihilo
So
means
then
out of,
not
wait,
everything needs a cause. You
Hey, do
just
you know what
broke your one rule.
You just contradicted yourself too, by the way. When you said God came, it always existed, then he said that he's ex nihilo. Do you know what ex nihilo means?
Yeah, he made everything from ex nihilo.
Which is out of nothing. Okay, so that's a claim. That's a nice claim. Why should I believe that claim is true, as opposed to the universe just being uncreated?
Because it's intelligently designed.
Demonstrate that it's intelligently designed. When I look at the universe, it doesn't look all that intelligent to me. I got this pipe. The same pipe I use for breathing is the same pipe I use for eating. If I do both wrong at the same time, I will choke and die. I have to wear these because these broke down, not very intelligently created. And there are much better ways of making eyeballs. Yeah, it doesn't seem all that intelligent to me.
Also, all space is filled with cancer-causing radiation, and a good chunk of it does get to Earth. Doesn't have to be there.
And one other thing is the very process that allows our bodies to make energy, which is it's basically the electron transport chain in the mitochondria predominantly produces energy for our bodies. That same exact mechanism also causes the generation of specific chemicals called reactive oxygen species, which cause cancer. So the mechanism that produces energy for our cells also can cause cancer, as well as multiple other different types of disorders, from misfolded proteins leading to Alzheimer's and various other chronic diseases. I'm sure it's so intelligent that like the only way we can really get energy from the things we eat and our fat stores also causes chronic disease. Much intelligence.
Because you're assuming that all those negative things come from God, when in fact those arose because we're in a fallen world.
Wait,
They've
so
been
things
around
that-
for literally ever.
So you're making the claim that there are things that exist that didn't come from God?
Well, like bad things, yeah, they don't come from God. Like that's
the Bible.
But these
would
things
disagree-
arose because of the fall.
The Bible would disagree with you. The Bible actually explicitly says in Isaiah chapter 45 verse 7, I the Lord create the light and the darkness. I create good and evil. I the Lord do all these things.
Okay, because
Not to mention,
so
we
he's
just
the
have evidence of these things before humans too.
Yeah,
he's the ultimate cause. Like he's the he's the necessary condition of everything.
Why should
in
I
that
think?
sense.
Why should I think that there is a God that is the ultimate cause of things, as opposed to the universe just having always existed?
Because that doesn't work. That there's like physics just wouldn't allow that.
Wait.
Now, okay.
So
As a
Quantinaut down
physicist-
here is a physicist. Quantinaut,
you are?
is it impossible, according to physics, for the universe to have always existed in one form or another?
No, that is completely within the realm of physics.
Hmm.
Is that like your NASA kind of like big
you like to-
government, like what you're
No.
told
I don't.
kind of thing?
No, this is just the scientific community. There's no government organizations that are enforcing this opinion.
Yeah.
Well,
see,
where do
I
you
would,
get it from?
I would say that you can't get something from nothing. There is currently something. Therefore, there was never nothing and always something. The universe has always existed. You would need to give us some positive evidence that there's this extra thing out there, like a god that exists.
Okay.
I feel like we're about to go down some kind of conspiracy theory rabbit hole. So let's see where this leads. Because again, none of the views of the scientific community here are enforced by like governments. That's not how science works.
Right.
Okay, sure. We don't talk about space, but do you deny the resurrection of Christ or that he was a real man?
I don't deny that Jesus was a real man, but yeah, he's definitely a big dead boy still. But again, to Quantinaut's point,
why are we?
Yeah, I don't want to skip off to
why
the
are we
resurrection.
pivoting away from the
Okay, you don't wanna
claim?
pivot?
Why are we pivoting away from the claim that it's against the laws of physics? Because again, nothing in physics says that this is not the case.
Okay, sure. So like let's take so what about like all the constants that keep like everything in the universe like actually functioning? They're perfectly tuned to what they need.
They are not perfectly tuned. There is a range of values that they could have been by several orders of magnitude that still would have likely given rise to life in the universe.
Yeah, it would just be a different form of life that would be asking the same question. Like if the constants were slightly different, and then a different kind of universe would have arisen as a result, and different kinds of life would have arisen, they would have been sitting here and going, the world is just so perfectly tuned for us. And in fact, it's just that the world is just, we just happen to grow up in the world, and we just evolved
and not
to fit
to mention,
this world. Yeah.
While there are certainly some values that these constants could have been that almost certainly wouldn't give rise to any interesting kind of chemistry at all, we have no reason to think that that is likely. So typically the argument for fine-tuning goes that the probability that the constants are what they are now, if there isn't a god, are equivalent to any other value that they could have been, from like 0 to infinity. But if you know anything about mathematics, you cannot have a uniform probability distribution going from 0 to infinity, because if you try to integrate that and find the total probability that it could have been anything, it would diverge to infinity, which is nonsense. That's not how probability works at all. So instead, what you would need to demonstrate, if you actually want to make a proper fine-tuning argument, is show that, for instance, the constants could have been anything within a finite range with uniform probability, and therefore the probability of ending up with the values that we got is very low in proportion to the total space. That has not been demonstrated yet.
Okay, so what about like all the order to all the chaos? Like it just randomly assembled into these life.
What about all the disorder?
Exactly what we would expect.
There's
that is how entropy works. Actually, I have a good analogy, Snitch, for this. The typical example that I use is of complexity emerging from a low entropy state going to a high entropy state is like the turbulence that appears when you're mixing cream into coffee. So at first, when the cream and coffee are separated, that's what we would consider a very low entropy state. It's very ordered. And then as you start mixing the two together, it forms all of these weird complex spirals and turbulent patterns and everything. And then eventually all of those fade out and it becomes a more uniform liquid, which is the high entropy state. So this is exactly what we'd expect from the laws of physics doing what they're doing. Complexity emerges in the turbulence of going from low entropy states to high entropy states.
Also, it should be mentioned that the specific structures of cells that are considered to be ordered actually more favorably interact with each other than, for example, water, which is the predominant chemical in our body that substances are diluted in. So, for example, blood is largely like an aqueous solution. Same thing goes for the cytoplasm inside of all of your cells. Now, the lipid bilayer, which makes up the cell membrane, the barrier between each cell, consists of a polar head that loves interacting with water and a fatty tail which hates interacting with water. So what do you think happens when you put these specific fatty molecules with that polar head that loves water and the fatty tail that hates water in a solution together? All of the fatty tails start pointing towards each other and interacting with each other because they hate interacting with water, and it takes more energy to interact with water, whereas the polar heads will interact with the watery environment around them, and that forms the lipid bilayer, which is just a cell membrane. And this actually can be observed if you just put a bunch of phospholipids in an aqueous solution, and little cells will literally start spontaneously forming just because it's energetically favorable.
Yeah, in fact, life is an entropy generating machine. So our universe is actually more quickly heading into a higher entropic state because of life. We're these machines that accelerate essentially the heat death of the universe, if that's indeed where we're headed.
Yeah, actually, my professor said it best. Organisms are low entropy because they expel, like, for example, feces and urine into their environment, which generates more entropy. So you have the low entropy state is maintained by the excretion of high entropy molecules and yada, yada, yada.
I think the higher entropy state is emitted in the form of infrared light.
Let's give Preston a moment to respond.
Sure.
Yeah, so that's obviously incredibly like complex, and like we can't even see it with our like bare eye because it's on that kind of scale. So I just can't.
Well, I just gave you an example of like the coffee and the cream. That's very much on the macro scale.
Also, complexity is not the hallmark of design. You know that, right, Preston?
Right. Yeah. Yes, like I don't think that, like, I agree there, but like for it to arise with absolutely no like cause, like intentional cause, or like it was just a complete random.
There are plenty of causes. Evolution, for
There's
example.
also, wait,
happens.
I just wanted to mention that abiogenesis is the theory that everybody is like mainly trying to pin down here, which is the theory of how life formed from non-life. And it actually comes from very simple, spontaneous mechanisms that are highly energetically favorable. We could leave all of the chemicals that were around on primitive Earth on a table in an environment that was as hot as what primitive Earth was, and amino acids, nucleic acids, all of the cofactors necessary for life, like ATP, would start spontaneously forming, not necessarily because like somebody created it. It just was there during the time of primitive Earth. The right chemicals were around. That doesn't need to have a creator. In fact, there are plenty other planets that are within, like, I'm sure Quan could probably speak to this, that are within the zone that could be habitable for life. And the chemicals that generate life, there's only really 4 that are required for some of the basic building blocks like amino acids. And as long as you have those 4 chemicals in a hot environment, whoop-de-doo, you probably are going to get life.
Well, I will say you don't necessarily have to be in the Goldilocks zone to get those conditions, because what you could potentially have, although obviously we haven't seen this yet, is the cases of like a moon of a gas giant like Jupiter, and the tidal forces compressing and squeezing the inside of the planet could give rise to like a hot liquid ocean underneath the surface, which, yeah, exactly. So
I know
that's
about
another
that 'cause of
potentially. Of course,
I've been to,
Yeah, I don't
I've been
deny
to
the
Europa.
lower Europe. But like I thought that they didn't, like, it was evidence that like you can get like the building blocks of complex life from inorganic matter, but I thought that like they couldn't simulate the exact old Earth conditions, but they still achieved abiogenesis. It just
all it demonstrates is that what it does demonstrate. Yeah, they didn't get the exact like conditions of the old Earth exactly right, but what it does demonstrate, what it does demonstrate to us is that these things can occur naturally, and like I always say, I have evidence of nature. I have no evidence of supernature. So until such a time as the supernature is demonstrated to exist, the only thing that's even on the table for the origin of life is nature. It can only be a naturalistic origin until the supernature can even be demonstrated. Otherwise, it's not even on the table. It's not even for consideration. It
Also,
hasn't.
wait, I just wanted to mention that we actually can fairly replicate the conditions that were around on primitive Earth. We just can't mimic the exact scale. So the reason why we can't mimic the exact scale is because we live on Earth. So we can't have a petri dish the scale of the Earth. And I hope that makes sense.
Citation needed.
Okay.
Um,
Isn't it amazing God did it?
wait, I wasn't done. So we can't have a petri dish the size of the Earth, so we can't mimic the scale, but we can, by looking at the world column, understand what the conditions were of primitive Earth back then, because we can look at the sediments and see how other chemicals may have reacted to one another to form those chemicals. So for example, stuff like ammonia and nitrogen-containing molecules, those will react a certain way with other carbons and other molecules that are in the sediment to give us certain types of compounds. And I could like go back into like my literature, like I have a whole entire document for this. I'm just kind of going off the rip right now. But basically, we can look at the world columns, see how the chemicals in the sediments would have reacted to make those other compounds, and we can determine the composition of our atmosphere back then. But even if we just take the atmosphere from now, 78% of the Earth's atmosphere is N2, which, even though it's not reactive, combined with, let's say, a lot of heat and a lot of hydrogen, because at the time we didn't have oxygen generating organisms like plants, and we didn't have diazotrophs, we didn't have like, for example, like cows producing methane and stuff like that. There's going to be a different composition around at Earth, which we can look at from the world column. So we can get a pretty good gauge of what primitive Earth was like back then. We just can't replicate the scale.
I think this what's really important, Preston, is we've been giving you arguments and evidence for our position. Could you give us any positive evidence for Christianity being true other than like arguments from ignorance? Like, I don't know how this could possibly be, therefore it must be God. Can you give any positive evidence for the validity of Christianity, like proof that Jesus was the Messiah, proof that he resurrected from the dead, or proof that he was the Son of God, something positive?
Yeah, so 500 people witnessed Jesus, the resurrected Jesus. There are numerous letters and other like testimonies and
Really?
accounts from that time within decades of Jesus.
You know
Yeah,
what's about to happen. You know
and
what's about
that's
to happen.
unusual for like
you,
any
you know what's about
claim
to
of a
happen.
resurrection.
You know what's about to happen, everyone. We're going to play the 500 game. All right. So, Preston, can you tell us any facts about the 500?
They were humans and they witnessed
right.
Jesus.
In what way?
What else? Like they physically saw the resurrected Christ.
Why are you presupposing they
It's
saw
in
the
Paul's letter.
Nope, it's not. Paul never says they physically saw him.
Oh, so we're just playing semantics with it?
No, this
So
actually.
do you deny Paul was a real guy?
Nope, I don't deny Paul was a real guy, but semantics is important because the meaning of words are important. For example, when Paul uses the Greek word ophthe, meaning appeared, in 1 Corinthians 15, does the Greek word, what is the semantic range for the Greek word ophthe?
I don't speak Greek. Can you tell me?
It can refer to physical sight, as in referring to physical sight of seeing things, but it can also refer to internal perception, according to Thayer's Greek lexicon, and according to the BDAG. So how did you come to the conclusion that the appearance of Jesus to the 500 wasn't an internal experience? Like, how did you come to the conclusion that the 500 simply weren't sitting around in a circle worshiping Jesus, and then they had this like internal feeling that Jesus was present with them in the room, and thus Jesus appeared to them. How did you rule that out?
I mean, no, I could concede to that, but I don't. That would still just be like, because Jesus does that to this day. So
That's just evidence that people have religious experiences which are psychological in nature.
yeah.
That's not positive evidence that Jesus actually resurrected from the dead.
So were you saying it could be either meaning, that Greek word? Like it could be either one?
Yep. It's not very good. It's not,
Okay,
it's not a very good
I
argument
think
for
that
the
I'm valid in
resurrection.
assuming that so I'm assuming I can assume that it's the physical one. Like, why should I believe that it's the internal feeling?
No, why should you? Because the internal ones, like, we have more examples of that than physical appearance. Even Paul, when Paul uses the same word to describe the way that Jesus appeared to him, and from Paul's own testimony in Galatians, Jesus appeared to him internally, not externally.
Also, it is your claim. Like, if you say you don't know if it's one or the other, at most you should be agnostic about that. But you're the one
Yeah.
making the definitive claim it's one versus the other, so you have to show that.
I have tons of examples of Christians thinking that Jesus appeared to them when they're sitting around praying and praising in a room and chanting and all that kind of stuff. They feel Jesus' presence. I have tons of examples of that. So I'm more inclined to believe that that's what we have with the 500. I would need a good reason to think that it was a physical appearance. That's the thing about the 500. In reality, we don't know anything about them. All we have about the 500 is one single verse in one chapter in one book, and that's it. We don't know anything about them.
Okay, so if somebody had Plato didn't even leave, or sorry, not Plato. Socrates didn't even leave any of his own writings, but you still believe he was a real guy, right?
Yeah, I think Jesus was a real guy too. I just don't believe the supernatural claims.
Right. So you're saying one verse just because it's one mention of Christ.
Yeah, because my explanation of it's more parsimonious with the evidence.
Right. So the reason that I would also think that it was a physical appearance is because it happened within decades after his death, not centuries and 2,000 years later.
You don't know. Maybe. Oh yeah, sure. It was within decades. That doesn't tell us. That doesn't raise the probability that it was physical. Again, as far as you know, the 500 are nothing more than a group of Christians who met together, who prayed and fasted and did all the ritualistic manners that sort of bring about these internal feelings, and then that they all had a feeling that Jesus was present with them in the room, and thus Jesus appeared to them. There's nothing about when this happened that would tell us that it was physical.
Okay, so we have different interpretations. That's fine.
Yeah, it's not. And what I'm saying is that 1 Corinthians 15:6 is not good evidence that Jesus resurrected, because my naturalistic explanation is more.
If it's good evidence,
more likely to be
be
true.
up to interpretation.
Yeah.
All right. So, what other claimed resurrected figure had this much support and corroboration for that resurrection?
Nero.
Yeah, I know he was claimed to have been resurrected, but it wasn't
people claim tons of people claim to have seen him after he resurrected. So much so that
over 1,000.
Yeah, and Rome actually had to the Roman government actually had to do an investigation on this, because news had gotten back to them. That's how big the appearance of Nero was. There are tons of people, more than 500 people, that have claimed to see Elvis Presley after he died. Doesn't mean that he really is alive. So Elvis is better attested to than Jesus's resurrection. Now,
maybe he is the second.
Yeah. Is that really the best evidence you have for the resurrection? Is that Paul says that 500 people that Jesus appeared to? That's it?
No. No, I mean, it was prophesized. It just makes sense. We have records. He was crucified.
We don't have. Where was it prophesied in the Hebrew Bible that Jesus would be crucified?
Sorry, I didn't mean that part was prophesized. Just his existence was.
Nothing about Jesus was prophesied in the Hebrew Bible. Jesus didn't fulfill a single messianic prophecy. Would you like to go to one?
Sure.
Sure.
Isaiah 53.
Isaiah 53 is not about Jesus. Here, I'll give you a pop quiz on Isaiah
And
53. Let's see how much
7:14.
let's see how much you know about Isaiah 53. Isaiah 53 is called by scholars the suffering servant song. Is Isaiah 53 the first time that the servant makes an appearance in the book of Isaiah?
No.
Correct. There are at least 6 other times, well, more than 6, but at least 6 other times where the servant is identified explicitly as someone. And who does the author of this section of Isaiah say that the servant is?
I don't remember. I just know it's about Jesus.
No. The author of Isaiah explicitly tells us time after time after time that the servant is Israel, the people.
Okay. Yeah, it's a double meaning. Like it's also referring to Jesus.
Why should I think it's about Jesus? Especially here, do you know the difference between past tense and future tense in language?
Yeah, but I think Hebrew doesn't have like those kind of
Do you
things,
speak?
right?
Yeah, it does. It does. Hebrew has what's called the perfect tense.
I've literally like heard this from
I
scholars.
speak Hebrew. Hebrew has the perfect tense and the imperfect tense. Do you know the difference between those two?
No, but I thought biblical tenses were different. Like I've heard scholars
They're
talk
not.
about that.
They're not. You've heard Christian apologists. You've heard Christian apologists make claims about Hebrew, but in Hebrew grammar works the same as the grammar as it does in modern day Hebrew. Perfect tense means that an action already occurred. Imperfect tense means it hasn't already occurred, or it's occurring right now and continues to occur. When I read Isaiah 53, what?
Sorry, continue. What's in Isaiah 53?
When I read Isaiah 53, does it say he shall be wounded for our transgressions? Or does it say he was wounded because of our transgressions?
It says he was because it's talking about that specific guy, but it's a double meaning and it's about Jesus as well.
Why should I think there's a double meaning? Why should I think there's a double meaning? Because if it's a double meaning, I can just apply it to anyone. In fact, there were Jews in the 90s who attributed Isaiah 53 to the Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson.
Yeah, I've heard about that guy. But
as long as there's a double meaning, you can make anyone fulfill Isaiah 53. All you need is someone who suffers.
Not if it's about Jesus.
Well, it's not about Jesus. Jesus didn't have seed. Also, is Jesus a one person or more than one person?
If you believe in like the Trinity, then he's like Jesus and God.
No, I don't. Not talking about the Trinity. I mean, if I counted how many, no, if I counted how many people Jesus was Jesus 2 people, or was he 3 people? Was he 4 people? Not is the Trinity 3 people. Is Jesus, just Jesus, more than one person?
Like when Jesus was on earth, he was just one guy.
All right. The author of Isaiah 53 refers to the suffering servant as a they. They were afflicted. Not he, they. Which also doesn't apply to the Trinity because only Jesus suffered on the cross.
All right, bro. I gotta go, but I'll pray for you.
All right, I'll think for you. Pathetic. All right. Ain't. He basically said, "I gotta go." Oh man. All right, I guess we'll bring up the next guest. I don't know where Quantonaut went. We have Savvy World. Savvy, I'm gonna ask you 3 preliminary questions, and then we'll get to the conversation. Question number 1: are you at least 18 years old?
Yes.
Question number 2: what pronouns do you go by?
Him.
And question number 3: are you a Christian?
Yes, I'm a follower of the true and living God.
All right, I'm Dalton the Bible guy. I'm not a Christian. Savvy, why should I become a Christian?
Because Jesus died on the cross for the forgiveness of everybody's sins. He was thinking about each one of us personally while he was up there.
Wow. So I believe Jesus existed and that he was put on a cross, but why should I think that his death was a sacrifice and not just an execution?
I mean, again, you don't have, well, for the first time, I guess, you don't have to believe it, but you ask, why should you be a Christian? Because it's
Yeah.
true. I'm sure it's a
Okay.
lot of things that are true
Why?
that you don't believe.
Why should I think it's true?
You don't have to believe it's true, but it is true.
Savvy, you know what I mean when I ask why should I think it's true. I mean to say you're making the claim. You're making the claim that it's true.
Mhm.
I want to know it is true. So give me reasons to think that your statement is true.
Well, there's a lot of commotion about a servant Jew, or I don't know if I don't even mean to say that. I don't know if that's TikTok friendly, but a child born of the line of Judah, that was essentially servant
Lots,
level.
lots of Jewish people are born from Judah.
Yeah, which ones do you know? Which ones are talked about 2,000 years after they're unalive?
Most Jewish people come from the tribe of Judah. They either come from the tribe of Judah or Benjamin, because the other 10 tribes.
Did you hear my question?
Because the other, I'm answering your first question. You said, "Who do you know?" That's from the line of Judah. Most Jewish people.
No, that was unalive.
Most. Oh yeah, Judas the Galilean. He was from the tribe of Judah, and he was killed. In fact, he was crucified like Jesus.
When was the last time anybody had a discussion about him? And I think you know what I mean when I think you know what I mean.
In the scholarly world, people talk about him all the time, but also, again, the fact that Christianity is popular today just tells me that people are gullible. It doesn't mean that Jesus was the Messiah. That's just an argument. That's literally
billions of people are gullible.
That's literally, Savvy. You're literally committing a logical fallacy called the argument ad populum. Just because a lot of people believe something
at one point in time,
doesn't make it true.
That was never my argument.
The Earth was flat.
But
does that make the Earth flat?
Yeah, Savvy.
Sorry, go ahead.
At one point in time, most people thought that the Earth was flat. Does that make the Earth actually flat?
No, that's not what makes the Earth flat. The Earth could possibly be flat.
No, it couldn't.
Oh boy, we stumbled right into that. Wonderful.
I'm saying nobody on this panel has went out to space.
Shut up. The American shut up. The American education system has absolutely fucking failed us. Now I'm not going to even.
No, I think they did their job perfectly. Everybody believes exactly what they read.
No. When people like you come up and say
nobody questions it.
When people like you come up and say the Earth could possibly be flat, it means that the education system has failed.
God, I wish this would be on topic to rant about neutrinos now, but I'll respect the live topic.
Personally,
unless you give me free reign on this.
Real quick, I believe the Earth is spherical because I can see planets that are also spherical. But I cannot say with absolute certainty that it is because I haven't tested this.
So you disagree with the Bible? The Bible says it's flat.
The Bible doesn't say it's flat.
It absolutely does. Do you know the difference between a sphere and a circle?
Do you know what flat means?
Yep. Do you know the difference between a sphere and a circle?
The Bible never said what verse says the Bible is flat.
Isaiah 40 verse 22. Now,
and how could it be flat if it has mountains?
Wow, Savvy. I've asked you a question twice now.
Go ahead,
I want you to answer it.
You're kind of breaking up.
Do you know the difference?
You did break up a little bit.
Do you know the difference between a circle and a sphere?
Yes.
What is the
third
difference?
Dimension.
There you go. When the Bible describes the shape of the Earth, does it say sphere or does it say circle?
If you take it literal as a circle, I understand why you don't believe Christ existed and died for your sins.
Savvy,
He didn't.
Are you bad at listening?
No, you're kind of lagging.
Did you take? Is
it just me, Quantum?
Yeah, Dalton, you are lagging a little bit. I'll say.
My lagging doesn't detract from the fact that several times already, Savvy, I've explicitly said to you that I think Jesus was a real person. He just wasn't the Messiah.
And died for your sins. That's why I added the last
Nope.
part, and died for your
Yeah,
sins.
but you haven't been able to prove that he died for our sins.
So wait, are you saying because I can't physically prove it that it's I mean that there's no possibility that it's true?
You can't prove it at all. And unless you can prove it to me, then I'm not justified in believing it. Jesus was just
So
Jesus was just a guy who took a huge L from the Romans. And unless you can give me a good reason to think that he's actually a sacrifice and not just an execution, then I'm going to see that Jesus of Nazareth is no different than Judas the Galilean.
Wait, but you earlier stated with the last person that you believe in abiogenesis. There's no proof.
There's plenty of evidence for abiogenesis. There is literally no evidence for life just fucking like spawning into existence.
I don't want him to pivot though. You're just basically doing a I know I am, but but also you, which is not an argument. All you're doing.
The main reason I came up here.
What you're doing basically now is saying, I know I don't have evidence, but neither do you.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I gave you evidence. You denied it.
But what you didn't give me evidence. You made a claim. Give me evidence that Jesus' death was a sacrifice and not just an execution.
What type of evidence would suffice?
What do you got?
I mean, I heard you say the hundreds of accounts don't suffice.
We don't have
the
hundreds
fact
of
that you know he was a.
We don't have hundreds of We don't have hundreds of accounts. We have one guy saying that 500 people that Jesus appeared to. That's one account.
Right. So that doesn't suffice. Okay.
No, it doesn't. And if you were listening, you should know why it's not sufficient.
So I'm just like, outside of, because this happened 2,000 years ago, how else could I prove it?
That's up to you to figure out. Otherwise, I'm not justified in believing it. It's not my fault if your belief system.
There's lots of.
So
there are a lot of things from 2,000 years ago that we do have enough evidence for that were like well recorded. This is not
physically the idea. Think about what we're talking about. We're talking here about an idea or metaphysical event.
For example, Savvy, when the Jewish people offered up the Passover lamb in the temple, I know that was a sacrifice because it was carried out by a priest, and it was in a temple. And we have writings from the priests that say that when you want to perform a sacrifice, this is how you do it. That's evidence that the lamb during Passover was a sacrifice. So why should I think that Jesus's death was a sacrifice?
So can we agree that the death and resurrection was a metaphysical event?
I don't think it was an event. It didn't happen.
If it happened, would it hold on real quick? I'm sorry, real quick.
When you say it was
hypothetically,
if you say it's a metaphysical
would that be considered a metaphysical event?
Just to be clear, do you believe that when Jesus was resurrected?
You're dodging my question, but go ahead.
I'll answer your question. I need to understand your position. When Jesus resurrected from the dead, was there a body in the tomb still, or was there no body in the tomb?
Nobody.
Then that's physical. Jesus physically rose from the dead according to your worldview.
I don't think you know what metaphysical means.
I don't think you know what physical means.
That's not metaphysical is not the opposite of physical.
I'm not interested in whether or not
do you realize that?
I'm not interested in whether or not you think the reason for the resurrection was metaphysical. You need to first to establish that there was even a resurrection to begin with.
I mean, again, you know the body was missing by stories.
I don't know that. In fact, I don't think that's true.
So the stories, I bet you don't. So the story goes that there were ladies that went to check the body, which would be it would have been watched over by Roman guards.
Says who?
So it's not like
you do realize in the oldest.
This was how they did. This was what they did back then.
It's not what they did back then. It's not what they did back then. In fact, in the oldest gospel, do you know which one's the oldest gospel of the four gospels?
I'm not sure.
It's Mark.
Matthew? No.
Does Mark say anything about there being guards at the tomb?
Does that necessitate that there wasn't?
It looks like what it looks like is that the guards in the tomb is just an addition to the story that got added on later. Why? That's not how Roman guards Roman guards didn't guard the graves of dead Jews. That's not how that worked. Why do you think that this was normative?
It wasn't normative, but the fact that they did have guards should tell you something else too.
I don't think there were guards.
They did actually.
Why? I don't.
Just
okay,
because
here,
you don't think there
let
were,
me help you out. Let me help you out here. I
So
don't
everybody,
trust. I don't. I
you
don't
only
trust.
take what you want from what
Dude,
you read.
Savvy,
That validates your
savvy,
experience.
savvy. Shut up for 5 seconds, and you'll understand why. I don't trust the Gospels because they contradict each other and they contradict history. They're unreliable. They make shit up about Jesus, so much so that even the Gospel authors will change other stories about Jesus to suit their purposes. That's why, for example, the author of John changes the time and day that Jesus was crucified. If they're willing to change things about Jesus's life to suit their agenda, why should I think that the Gospels are historically accurate?
My guy.
Am
Again, there's nothing.
Am I not? Is it not accurate? What I said was that not accurate? Did the author of John not change the time and day of Jesus' crucifixion?
Didn't necessarily change it. He wrote it differently.
That doesn't
mean he changed it.
That's called changing it.
So did he read the other one and then be like, "Oh no, this how it happened"?
Yes, and the reason
How
why
can you prove that?
and we can probably we have
How
a good
can you
reason
prove that?
and we have a good reason for thinking.
So you can't prove it.
And in fact, shut up. In fact, everyone, go check out one of my latest videos on YouTube that we just put out that goes into detail about this a little bit, called Typology Debunked, where we talk about why it is that the author of the Gospel of John changed the time and day of Jesus' crucifixion. So, in order to help you understand, Savvy, according to the Synoptic Gospels, when was Jesus killed?
Time of day?
Not only the time of day, but the day itself on the calendar. For example, the calendar day today is March 22nd. The authors of the Synoptic Gospels give us a time of day and a calendar day for when Jesus died. Do you know what that was?
No, you could educate me.
It was on the 15th of Nisan at 9 in the morning, the day of Passover. Remember the Last Supper?
What did you say about the Last Supper? The day of the Last Supper?
Do you know what the Last Supper was in the Synoptic Gospels?
Yes.
It was the Passover, right?
Yeah.
All right. So it's the 14th of Nisan. The sun sets. You eat the Passover meal. And the next day is Passover. And according to the Synoptic Gospels, Jesus was crucified at 9 in the morning on the 15th of Nisan. The author of John changes Jesus's day and time of crucifixion to the 14th of Nisan, the day before, explicitly saying that it happened on the preparation day of the Passover. And not that it happened at 9 in the morning, but Jesus was still before Pontius Pilate at his trial at noon, meaning he wasn't crucified until the afternoon. Do you know what also happened in the afternoon on the 14th of Nisan?
What also happened?
That's when the Passover lamb is sacrificed. What does the author of John refer to Jesus as in the opening of his gospel?
Sacrificial lamb?
The Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. It's quite obvious to most scholars agree with me on this, that the author of the Gospel of John is changing the time and day of Jesus' crucifixion.
Or do you agree with most scholars?
It's mutual. We came to the...
They know you?
Mutual doesn't mean they know me. Don't stop saying words. You don't know what words mean. Anyways, so...
Sure.
So
you didn't know what metaphysical
the author of the
meant.
Gospel... I know what metaphysical means, dumbass. Anyways, so
You
the
thought
author
it
of
was
the
the
Gospel of
opposite of
John...
physical.
The author of the Gospel of John changes the time and day of Jesus' crucifixion in order to make it to where he looks like he's the Passover, he's the fulfillment of the Passover lamb. If the author of the Gospel of John is willing to change the day and time of Jesus' crucifixion in order to make a theological point, who's to say how much other things he's changing? Why should I trust the Gospels? Also, the Gospels of Matthew and Luke just outright contradict each other on the timing of Jesus' birth. Every factor of it.
You don't have to trust it. You're giving up your salvation.
I don't I know I'm not, because there is no salvation to be had, to be given up. You've given me no good reason to think that there is such a thing as salvation.
Do you believe your person and your body are separate?
My person is like my mind, which is like generated by my brain.
Your mind is generated by your brain?
Yes, what we refer to as the person.
Yeah, specifically.
Yeah, go ahead, Jay.
Specifically thalamocortical connections, which allow for that feeling of like awakeness and consciousness. This is actually a little bit of a scary thing, but not a lot of doctors actually say it because it does sound a little bit crazy, is when you're under anesthesia, in all technical terms, you don't have a consciousness. That's why you can't remember like what happened. Give you a drug, consciousness, and that basically the whole connection for a temporary period.
Your connection.
That's just my throat.
I don't think anybody heard what you said.
You're at 1 bar for your connection.
Does this sound a little bit better?
Yeah.
Is this any better?
Could you repeat what you said?
Okay, yeah, sure. So basically the reason why anesthesia does what it does, general anesthesia, is it literally makes you like, you lose your consciousness for a period of time because it impairs that ability for thalamocortical connections as well as other areas of your brain to actually be active. That's why you can't remember what happened during a surgery when you get surgeries or if you've ever had anesthesia. So, like, for all intensive purposes, consciousness is derived from the brain, and until you can show me a chronically conscious person without any brain activity, I have literally no reason to believe that consciousness comes from anything other than the brain. We even have tests for consciousness.
Well, again, I wasn't speaking about awareness of your surroundings. I was talking about your person.
No, consciousness, which is basically having like an experience of the self. So understanding that you are a person in this world, and that comes from your brain.
Yeah, there is no person without the brain. Like
your
a
brain,
fetus, like a fetus in the womb.
Well, hold on,
like,
real quick. Is your brain
like
a part of your body?
Yes.
Your brain is a physical thing that's a part of your physical body. Your brain and your body are synonymous.
100% of
to add
everything
more
about
to it,
100% of everything about me is physical, even my thoughts. It's just the firing of
And so
synapses.
my point still stands.
Did he
My
just say
point
his thoughts
still
are physical?
wait. My point still stands. Unless you can show me a chronically conscious person without any activity in the brain, I have no reason to believe that consciousness comes from anything other than the brain.
You also believe abiogenesis is a real thing.
I don't just
without
believe in
any proof.
abiogenesis. I actually have evidence for it. So
There's no
I could
evidence,
show
and it has
you.
not been well, please show me. That will educate
You
me.
do not want to say that. Okay.
Non-life to life has never been proven, well, first, proven, and then also what's the word I'm looking for? Like redone, like shown us to happen in any environments that was created.
So body with operant says, why do they always go into abiogenesis? It's because they realize they don't have any evidence for their metaphysical claims.
I went to abiogenesis. No, I went into abiogenesis because she was talking about it earlier, and she was lying to everybody up here as if it was a thing that could be reproduced. That was the word I was looking for.
You really don't want to go into this.
You don't.
This argument is the equivalent of an ancient Greek person. Okay.
Savvy, you don't get to make claims that people are fucking lying. Lying means that it would mean that scientific snitch knows for a fact that abiogenesis isn't true, and yet she's telling us it is. That's what it means to lie. You shut up. Okay, Savvy. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100. What is it?
44. Nope,
it was 54. So obviously you can't fucking read minds. So don't sit here and pretend don't sit here and pretend like you know what scientific snitch is thinking. You're making yourself look like an ass. And like most Christians do. You don't know what scientific snitch is thinking. You don't know that she really thinks that abiogenesis isn't true, and she's saying otherwise. She not only does she believe it, she believes it because of the facts. So scientific snitch, go ahead and give
No,
us
what
the
she said was it.
you don't get to say what she said. So scientific snitch, go ahead and give us the evidence for abiogenesis. Just 1 point.
Sure thing. So I am going to pause my walk. And this is how much I freaking care about this, because you said that I was lying, you little slimy POS. So here is my document of abiogenesis
Can you throw her on a big screen,
literature.
please?
Feel free to make me big screen. So this is not going to take me very long. So all of the literature right here is demonstrating the abiotic chemical synthesis of various components of life that are required for life to exist. Amino acids, nucleic acids, i.e. the building blocks of DNA, cofactors like ATP, which are also derived from specific nucleic acids like adenosine. And then if you go down here, here is how the LD stereochemistry problem comes about. So this is a problem commonly cited by people who try to pretend like they actually understand abiogenesis, which is basically the fact that most life on planet Earth is in the D form. So for example, or the L form, technically, amino acids are mostly in the L form, whereas like something like glucose is in D glucose. And like we can't fully like recognize specific kinds of molecules if it's in the wrong form. So this is a article that helps to provide an understanding of how the evolution of specific life forms that recognize specific configurations of molecules came about. Then there's also basically the theories of how life actually came to be from, for example, hydrothermal or other hot chemically rich bodies of water. And those hot chemically rich bodies of water gave rise to all of these pieces of literature here. Each one of these is basically demonstrating that the abiotic synthesis of the necessary components of life are repeatable, reliable, and reproducible. And so that's like the
Wait,
key
which one is the
components and tenets
reproducible one?
of life. Huh?
Which one is the reproducible one?
All of them.
Where it's been reproduced?
No, all of these are reproduced. So for
So
example,
all of
this
these
is
are
very similar to
experiments.
this,
Go
which is
ahead.
very similar to this, which is very similar to this. Then all of these are very similar to each other because they're all talking about purines and the synthesis of purines under primitive earth conditions. Then you also have pyrimidines as well as RNA synthesis. So all this one, and this one are all reproduced versions of each other. So all of this is demonstrating that not only is the abiotic synthesis of the building blocks of life possible, but it's reproducible and reliable because it's so spontaneous. Then if you go down here, you
So
also
are any of
have the
those?
same thing,
Go
but
ahead.
for protocells.
Mhm.
So you asked me for the evidence. If you're not going to let me go through the evidence,
Yeah,
then
no, go ahead.
why did we
I
even
thought you
bring this
were.
up?
I thought you were wrapping it up. Go ahead.
No, I'm not, because have you seen how I have 6 pages of evidence for this shit?
Well, so it would
Yeah,
help
so
me
you were
out.
saying that I was lying?
Yeah.
I'd
So
like to
do
hear an
any are any
apology right now.
Yeah.
are
Please,
any of
please
those?
apologize for
I'll give
that.
you an apology. I promise I will. Because
Yeah, thank
if
you,
Right
if you
because
now.
I actually
hold on,
have
whoa,
evidence
that
for this
wasn't the
shit.
apology. That wasn't the apology. I said
Here,
I
go.
Well,
will
maybe
give you
you
an
should
apology
apologize
if
because
one
you
of
said I was
those
lying when
links.
I said that I had evidence. I have 6 pages of
Okay.
evidence.
So if I
And
check
all of
out
this
any,
is all
okay.
of this is accessible, by the way, on my platform because I have it in my link in bio. It's a free Google Doc. It's
Yeah.
shared to everyone.
So you don't get to
Okay,
say
so real
you don't.
quick, real quick.
So real quick, you don't get to say anything else until you first apologize. That's it.
Well, just for confirmation, are any of those links?
No, you don't get to. You
This
don't get
is
to ask.
all, just so you know, all of these are peer-reviewed scientific pieces of literature. So all these are
Are any of those?
experiments. They're not just articles. This is not just .com, .org, blog post, apologist.org. It's not that shit. It is an actual peer-reviewed scientific piece of literature based off of an experiment which you could reproduce in your freaking kitchen.
Yeah. So you don't get to say
So
anything else until you apologize for being a presumptuous little shit.
I have no problem apologizing and being humble about
Then
this.
do it. Then
If
do it right now.
I just need to I haven't
You
read
don't. You
any of
don't.
those.
You don't. You don't need any confirmation of anything. You
I
have all.
those
You've been given all the reason to know for a fact that Snitch is not lying. You can think she's mistaken,
you
but
want me
she
to
ain't. But she ain't lying. So you will apologize now, or I will drop you. That's the rule. Right now, you will apologize, or I will drop you.
How has that proven what she said was true? She just
You're too stupid. I said you're
Okay,
allowed to think that
I'll strike
Snitch
myself.
was mistaken. You don't get to make the claim that she's lying though. And you're too stupid to know the difference. Is the problem. She was. Savvy World, you don't get to say anything else. That's crazy. Okay, I got a super chat here, and we'll move on to the next guest. We got 40 more minutes until the end of the show, everybody.
At Very Good Wizard with the $5. Quanta's brain and skull prints are next level. Get Wilson Snitch, and thank you Dalton and Fran for sharing with the public. Much love, friend.
Hey, much appreciated. I'm so happy I get to have Scientific Snitch and Quantanaut to come up here and share their like their wisdom, their knowledge with us. Like, because I prepared to do.
Take
I
it.
mean, I mean, at the end of the day, I think my syllogism works. That I mean, not my syllogism, but my argument that until the supernatural is demonstrated to be true, it's not even viable as an option for the origin of life. But it's great that I get to have like someone who's actually able to give us the positive evidence for abiogenesis. So and physics.
What I always like to say is that it's the equivalent of like going back to ancient Greece and them saying, well, you can't prove where lightning comes from, therefore it must be the gods.
Right. All right, we're gonna bring up Aiden. Aiden, I'm gonna ask you 3 preliminary questions, and then we can get to the conversation. Question number 1: are you at least 18 years old?
I'm not 18 years old, but I feel like I have pretty good.
Nope. Yeetus the fetus. We don't. This is not a daycare. Come back when you're 18. All right, secular cheese. I'm gonna ask you 3 questions, and then we'll get to the topic at hand. Question number 1: are you at least 18 years old?
Yes, I am.
Question number 2: what pronouns do you go by?
He, him.
And then question number 3: are you a Christian?
No. I was gonna say that. I was gonna ask, like, did I do something bad in the chat to get muted? Like, I don't. Like,
I didn't mute you, so I don't know.
Criticizing Savvy, and so okay.
Also, I should have known you weren't a Christian because you answered the pronoun question too quickly and too easily.
Yeah, no, I'm not. But,
to the one who muted him, just let me know what they did. He's atheist.
I just said he was acting,
but
and,
racist.
Like, no, I said he was acting, ghetto, because.
Oh, you can't use that. No, you can't use that phrase, bud.
Why?
It's inappropriate. Especially when referring to like anyone who might be black, referring to him as ghetto. It's not okay. You can't say that. So now you know why. Anyways, I thought that would have been obvious, but okay. Don't say that in the future. All right. Oh man. All right. Yes, you were absolutely racist, but yeah, I lived a whole nearly 40 years and never had to use that word. The only time I've ever had to use the word ghetto is when referring to and to the Holocaust. It's the only time I've ever had to use the word. And that's because that's the proper term for the camps and stuff like that. All right. Everyone, make sure you're tapping that screen. Share the live with those you love, with those you hate, with your friends, and with your enemies. And if you're a Christian, make sure you come on up and give us a good reason for why I should become a Christian. It seems like, without fail, every single time I've had a Christian come up here, the reason why they think I should become a Christian is because of they don't believe in evolution or abiogenesis. If it turned out that evolution and abiogenesis weren't true, that wouldn't automatically make Christianity true. Christians, when I ask you why I should become a Christian, it's your job to make a positive argument for your religion. For example, let's say someone came to Snitch and said, why should I believe in evolution? She never once needs to say anything about the failings of creationism. If someone asks Quantanaut why he thinks the Earth is a globe, he never once needs to say anything about what the Bible says. He can just give the positive, and she can just give the positive evidences for their particular positions. And the same should be true for you as a Christian. You should be able to give me a positive evidence for Christianity without having to say anything about atheism, naturalism, or evolution, or abiogenesis, or anything like that. You should just be able to give your argument for your position. Is the lag absolutely horrible for anyone else? It's almost making me give up. All right, listen, I'm sorry. I live out in the countryside, and my internet is so bad, y'all. Last week I uploaded a video to YouTube for Justin over at Deconstruction Zone, and it took me, and I kid you not, because I had a timer set for it so I would know, 12 hours to upload one video. And if you want to see better internet for the Bible Guy Show, make sure you send in your super chats, or send me donate to Cash App, PayPal. We have a Patreon now. How long was the video? 30 minutes. 30 minutes. 12 hours for a 30-minute video to upload. Anyways, what I'm not excited about, this is going to be my first year ever that I've ever had to pay in to my taxes, because I kind of run my own business now. So, you know, it's going to set us back a little bit on the apartment fund, but hopefully by fall we'll be in the apartment. That's the hopes, at least. The cat in the chat says, if there's better internet available, you're definitely not in the country. If there's better internet available, you're definitely not in the country. Yeah, I'm gonna move out of the country because I don't like living out here. I know for some people, they like the trees and they like all that kind of stuff. I don't. I want to hear an ambulance rolling by while I'm sleeping at night. Okay, like I want to live in the city. I had a joke, but I decided against it. I'll trust your judgment, Saint Brianna. I am a city boy, 100%. Too many signs for me. This is gonna sound crazy, but one of my you know, like sometimes I like to fall asleep to white noise of some kind, and sometimes that white noise I fall asleep to is the sound of rain, but also there are cars driving past, like the sound of the driving by while it's raining helps me sleep. I also really like the one where it sounds like you're like sleeping in a car, so you hear the sound of the raindrops hitting the windshield and the roof and stuff like that. Another super chat here.
The OG, Gretchen Z with the $5. At least it's just the video. Audio sounds great. Mezzo has way worse internet and he lives in Los Angeles. Out here, bros, and fuck the cons.
I don't watch enough of Mezzo's lives to know that, but it's great to know that I'm not the only one who's struggling here. Yeah, I'm just like, once I move out to the city, like the only way I'm even able to get internet where I live, and I hate that I have to resort to this, but I have to use Starlink. And I hate that I have to use Starlink because, you know, fuck his name is, I think about him so little. Thank you. What a name, Musk. Even his name stinks. But I hate the fact that I have to use Starlink, which comes from that fuckface. Once I get out into the city, I'm definitely going to be dropping it, and also it's hella expensive. $120 a month for internet. Ugh. All right. We're going to bring up the next guest. Workers Unite. Workers Unite. I'm going to ask you 3 preliminary questions, and then we'll get to the conversation. Are you at least 18?
Yes.
And what pronouns do you go by?
He, him.
And are you a Christian?
Yeah.
All right. I'm Dalton the Bible Guy. I'm not a Christian. Workers, why should I become a Christian?
I'd say if you value the teachings of Jesus, that would be a good reason to become a Christian. If you don't, then
I do not value.
There's no specific reason to.
I do not value the teachings of Jesus. Jesus, as a first century Jewish man, taught his followers to keep the law of Moses, and I think the law of Moses is abominable.
I guess that's a fair point. I more focus on like his top commands, like some of the law of like love God, love neighbor.
I mean, I can't love God because I don't think he exists, so I don't think that's a virtue. I already love my neighbor, except for I don't love unilaterally and uniformly. I give love to people who deserve it. I don't love my enemies, and I think loving your enemies is not a very good. It's not a virtue.
Even like without exception, like I understand that as like a general concept, but
yeah, like for example,
yeah.
Adolf Hitler. Should I, if I was like let's say I was a Jewish man in 1940s, and I was also a Christian, like I was a Messianic Jew, and Hitler had me going into the camps, I don't think I should love him.
No,
I don't think I should love the ICE soldiers. I don't think I should love Donald Trump or Elon Musk. I love people who are deserving of it.
That's fair.
So most of Jesus says some nice things, like we should feed the poor and clothe the naked. But I kind of already believe. But my secular humanism already provides those things for me. And so, but the things that are unique about Jesus, that I don't get from secular humanism, are the really bad parts.
That's understandable. Yeah, I'm generally not like a proselytizing person. I don't know. I'm just here just because I found this an interesting conversation. I think I don't know. I've seen a lot of your live, and you seem respectful and pretty cool. So
thank you.
I'm not like the type that goes around being like everyone must become Christian now or whatever.
Notice, by the way, audience, for those the haters out there are people like Randy who I have to mute every 5 seconds, and there are people like Workers Unite that I don't have to because they're cordial and they answer questions and they're honest. So, like, big W to Workers Unite, at least, you know. But is there anything else, Workers?
That was also a little bit. No, not really. That was also a little bit part of like my motivation for coming up here. Like I know that a lot of Christians are very abrasive, especially even like the tradition that I came out of, like was raised in. But yeah, I try to like put forward like a respectful dialogue, and like I generally have a lot of respect for like atheists. I tend to have a lot more in common with most atheists than I do with most Christians. People like, what did you say it was Randy? So I don't know. Yeah, that's probably about it.
There are some Christians that I feel that way about too. Kevin Carnahan, for example. You're probably familiar with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like
the name sounds vaguely familiar.
He's more of like progressive Christian, and he's like he's like scholarly literate, and like he has more. And him and Dan McClellan, they have more in common.
Okay. Right.
They have more.
Right. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. They're not like Trumpists. The Trump Christians are the ones I really care about. That they're the ones that are the problem. But hey, thank you for coming up, Workers Unite.
Yeah, have a good one.
Like, if I had to choose, guys, whether or not if I had two options for two different powers, power number one, every single individual that I have a debate with who is a Christian always becomes an atheist, versus all at once every single Christian becomes progressive Christian, I would take the latter, because it'd be faster, first and foremost, and I wouldn't have to, I probably get to talk to like a couple hundred Christians in like a couple months. So like, it'd be better off like if everyone was just progressive Christian over me just making everyone that I talk to an atheist. That's just my opinion, though. We got here a question mark, or maybe it's the Riddler from Batman. Question mark. I'm gonna ask you. How old are you?
Oh, I'm in 6th form.
Nope. Bye. Yeetus the fetus.
Yes. Fetus. Deletus the fetus.
This is not a daycare.
Also, Snitch, I hope you're enjoying the 3D scans.
We have here.
Yes, I am. They're so cool.
Whoa.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Oh, I have a
that's
question.
a child.
How old are you? You know, I ain't gonna.
That's a child.
I feel like they were about to say a slur. I'm not gonna even. I don't even try it. Oh damn! Do you have other cousins on here, Dalton? Oh my gosh! Are you? Did y'all see that video?
I remember there's something about your cousin.
Yeah,
I don't remember the details.
Me and Liz were doing a live one night, and then I get a call. I get a quest up from X-Man, and I'm like, okay, who is this? And I bring him up, and it's my cousin, who is like 8. And I was like, fuck no. Like, first and foremost, I don't like the kid in person. I don't like him. I'm definitely not gonna like him on TikTok. He's annoying as fuck. And that's not saying I like some kids, okay, but not that kid. He annoys the hell out of me. My dogs don't like him. First and foremost, they're terrified of him.
By the way, Quantinaut, a very fascinating little thing. So East Asians, so I'm half East Asian, technically. Female East Asians have some of the smallest orbital florature bones. So that's probably the reason why my infraorbital and supraorbital fissure are so thin.
I was mentioning this to Stitch offline because I'm going to try to prepare a 3D model of her skull to print. And unfortunately, the scan is really, really not picking up the bone around the eyes. And so I was mentioning, wow, your bone must be very thin there.
One of the things I want to make for myself whenever I get around, because right now I'm doing like a green screen thing, and it'll probably be that way for quite some time. But whenever I finally get around to one day having a physical set, I want one of the things on my set to be a 3D print of Goliath's skull. So it'll be a skull. It'll be extra large because it's supposed to be a giant skull. It won't be a full skull with like the jaw and everything, just the top half with some teeth missing, so it looks like an old like skull that we found, archaeological, and then has a stone embedded in the skull in the forehead with cracks all around it. That would be cool. A really cool idea that I have for like one of the things I'd have on my set one day. I plan on eventually we're gonna get. I want to get this thing super professional looking one day. Professional cameras, lighting, but we're only at our baby step right now because 2026 is the year of the Bible guy, everybody. Let's see. Valuing Jesus' teachings won't make Jesus Messiah or God, won't make Christianity true. That is also true. There's when was this? Was I talking to the person or someone else? I can't remember if I debated someone or if someone I watched was debating someone, but this Christian came up trying to argue that we should become Christians because maybe I was on Derek Lambert's channel, but a Christian was arguing that we should become Christian because it was like useful. And quite honestly, I could not give less of a shit. I don't care if you think Christianity is useful or makes the world a better place. I want to know whether or not its claims, its like supernatural claims, are true. Could not give less of a shit about whether or not it's useful. It will never be a good argument for me because I can't, like, what do you want me to do? Lie and say I'm a Christian? That sounds unethical. I used to build stuff for the theme parks. I could totally make that for you. Hell yeah. One day in the future, I'll have like books. Oh my God. One of the things that really peeves me, and this is something I see all the time on Christian lives, like Dr. Michael Brown, and also like I saw another Christian do this. I was like going online, I was flipping through TikTok, and I came across a Christian, and I looked at their bookshelf, and it had like all these books. It would look very impressive. And then I squinted, and I noticed that the books curved around the corner with wrinkles. It was a fucking wallpaper. That's some pseudo intellectual bullshit. Like, look at all these books. I'm so smart. No, you're not. That's why
streamer with the refrigerator. It's like, what's in the refrigerator? There is no refrigerator.
refrigerator. I saw that video. So funny. I have an actual bookshelf with actual books on it. Unlike some of these Christians. Here we go. That's my actual bookshelf. Is it impressive? Not really, but it's real. At least it's real.
I got all mine down here. There's philosophy of physics.
My god, it's so cool. I'm sorry. Dude, this as like an anatomy TA, this is like low-key, like is so fucking cool. So cool.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, it is.
We have another guest. Fat Free Fit.
Hello?
I'm gonna ask you 3 preliminary questions, and then we can get to the conversation. Question number 1: are you at least 18 years old?
Yes.
What year were you born?
2005.
I don't believe you. Yeah. Bye.
Where are the children?
I didn't even have to hit the I didn't even have to hit the button. They just disappeared. Fantastic. They did my work for me. If you're a Christian and you're a child calling up here and I ask you if you're an adult and you say no, that's fucking lying and you're going to hell, you little shit. That's like an alternate universe where Dalton's a Christian and he's just cursing at kids. You're going to hell, you little shit. Who am I, fucking Steven Anderson? Jesus Christ. It really is a children's hour. I know, right? They're all getting off from school right now is the problem. Oh, wait, Sunday, never mind. Sunday school. They're all getting off from Sunday school. Jesus Christ. Liar, liar, lake of fire. YouTube Punk, you asked if it was Cameron Bertuzzi. It wasn't Cameron Bertuzzi. Is his library fake in the background? Let's see. It's the same kid each time, or is it there are 3 of them in a trench coat? No, Dalton, don't repeat the lies of Christianity. I'm just saying, if they what they believe is true, they're all going to fucking hell for being liars. Oh man. Let's see. Here, let me. If you're a Starfield fan, either on YouTube or TikTok, send put a W in the comment section so I can see how many of you are out there. No, but it's compensating for something. I think it is. I agree. People who have huge libraries in their background are definitely compensating for something. It's like big wheels on
my
a truck.
huge Lego collection in my background.
See, that's
tell
not
about me.
compensation. That's just cool. Dan the Skeptic, are you excited about the new update? I think I think you mentioned last time I was live, Dan, that you were a Starfield fan. Are you excited for the Free Lanes / Terran Armada update? So I also thought about doing a stream one of these days where I play video games, and the video games would be religious video games, and I didn't see enough comments in the comment section telling me whether or not y'all were for or against that idea. But there's a Jesus simulator video game on.
Everybody I heard is for it.
For it?
I think that would be fun.
Have they fixed the fast travel issues? In part, they have. You can now travel between each planet in your ship. Let's see. There are religious video games? Yeah, there are. I don't know if this one was made by religious people or not, though. It might just be made by people making fun of it, as far as I know, but it looks like it'd be fun for us to play, just to check it out, at least. You're for it? Hell yeah. Please, Jesus, send us your best caller. Amen. Right? If there's a God out there, surely either God doesn't want us to talk to a person who's really good at defending Christianity, or there just aren't any. I won't lie, I love religions in video games like in Elder Scrolls. Oh yeah, for sure. I roleplay a religious person when I'm playing Elder Scrolls. Also, fuck Ulfric Stormcloak and the Stormcloaks. They're basically. Have you Quantina, have you played Skyrim or Snitch? Have either of y'all played Skyrim?
My girlfriend has, but I haven't.
Oh my gosh! Ask your girlfriend if she thinks Ulfric Stormcloak is basically the Donald Trump of Tamriel. The guy is basically saying, "Let's make Skyrim great again."
Of course.
He hates the Stormcloaks. He wants to. He wants to make Skyrim great again, and he's also extremely racist against elves. The slogan for the Stormcloaks is "Skyrim is for the Nords." Also, Nords are basically blonde-haired, blue-eyed people. Just they're Scandinavians. Just to give you, yeah.
Also, if we ever have any down period between guests, I'd recommend that maybe we could do our little project, because that's something like we can potentially do in parts.
Well, let's start on it right now. I've got 14 minutes before the end of the show. We can at least start doing some brainstorming at least.
Yes,
so
I don't think we've roped in Snitch on what the plan is.
Oh, Snitch, did you hear about what me and Quantina are planning on making?
No, I haven't.
A scientifically accurate reconstruction of Genesis 1. So basically, what would Genesis 1 look like if it was scientifically accurate, and writing it out?
Or more accurate, what I had in mind was that what would it be like if it was written by somebody who actually knew, like, the early universe? So we'd be using all the phrases and words that existed at the time and try to phrase it in a way that is comprehensible to, like, maybe your average Bronze Age person, but in such a way that is actually, simplified metaphors and stuff.
It would demonstrate that if we can do it, Yahweh could have fucking done it.
Yeah.
Well,
that sounds so fun. I'd love to participate in that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where would the start be?
So we'd probably start with the Planck epoch. So by the way, we often separate out in cosmology the different epochs of the universe. There's more than 7, unfortunately. But these are natural sort of segments in the early universe. And the first bunch of them are all within, like, the first 20 minutes of the universe.
Here. So it would start with is this how you spell Planck?
Planck, the Planck epoch.
Wow, that is really tiny. Haven't heard that in a while. Just kidding.
Hey.
Okay, 1 second. Let me make this bigger so that first on YouTube, on TikTok, on YouTube, and then I'll do it on TikTok. Let's see. Ooh. Wow, that sucks ass. Oh my gosh. You know what? There we go. Let's see.
It's enough pixels.
Planck epoch.
Yep.
Where we go?
That's the one obviously we know the least about. It's very hypothetical at that point. But what we could say about that is that very likely all the 4 fundamental forces of reality were combined into a single force.
Oh yes, I actually do. There was the super force, which separated into the strong and weak nuclear forces. The electromagnetic.
You're going away from the mic.
Sorry. The super force was separated into the strong and weak nuclear force, the electromagnetic force, and the gravity. And I know that because
yes,
of Astrophysics for People in a Hurry by Neil deGrasse Tyson. When I first became an
Nice.
atheist,
I
I read this was my first book for reading about physics. Yeah. All right. So
Nice. So maybe like we could try to find a way to phrase what these forces are again in a more simplified way, like the force of lightning for electromagnetism, and maybe the weak force you could call it like the force of decay, stuff like that, and gravity the force of weight.
Oh yeah, I'm sure I can.
The strong force would be tricky.
Yeah, I'll figure out some way to laymanize it for the for the ancient Israelites.
So in the Planck epoch, they are all the same forces. They're all the same. The second one is the Grand Unification epoch. You might want to number this.
They are numbered.
2 should be like 1A, you know.
Oh, I see. 2 should be 1A. Okay. No, that's not what I want. Here, we'll try that again. I don't know how to do this. I think my problem
just
was
a comment, comma here. Maybe.
Yeah, my problem was I shouldn't have there. That'll do it. And then I can do this. 1A. There we go. No, I didn't mean orca. I meant force. And then number 2 was what was that? The Grand
Unification epoch. And that's where gravity separates from the other 3. So the other 3 are still combined with each other, but gravity has now branched off into its own thing. And in addition, particles are actually starting to be formed in this. So particles and antiparticles.
Separates from the other forces. Now you all can see that I'm really bad at spelling things.
Separates is a hard word. I never get that right on the first try either.
Yeah, well, I'm definitely one of those people who grew up in a world where our phones correct our spelling, so I don't know how to spell jack shit on anything. Okay. 3 was what?
But then you also have particles or again, this is 2B as well. You have particles and antiparticles forming.
Or is it not 2B? That's the question. The formation of particles. What was that?
I'm curious how you would phrase this, like maybe mirror matter and mirror matter, something like that.
I will be able to think of a way to dumb this down. It's going to take me a while though. All right.
And I'm sure we'll go back and forth a bit on it a bit. Anyways, then the third one, this is where we actually start really actually having data. This is the inflationary epoch.
Inflationary epoch. Does this include like their this beginning include like the quantum vacuum?
That depends what you mean by quantum vacuum.
I don't quite understand it myself. Is it that there is like this infinite sea of particles that don't have mass yet, and then they're given mass by the Higgs boson?
Yeah, we're getting to that. We're getting to that.
Yeah.
So currently, all the particles are massless, or most of them are, at least. All the ones that would eventually turn into the matter we have today are currently massless at this point.
All right.
Anyways, the inflationary epoch, that's the point where the expansion rate really kicks up. So, it starts off extremely hot and dense, and now it's rapidly expanded. And when I say rapidly expanded, I mean that the what would become our observable universe goes from let's see, the size. I knew it eventually at the end of that epoch, the entire universe is about the size of a grapefruit.
Oh, okay. Lovely.
Yes. And the reason why we think that this is the case is because the temperature variations in the universe are very small. It's very uniform. And so essentially, the idea is that we are zooming in at one point of the universe that has reached mostly thermal equilibrium with itself, and then zooming in on that to make the entire universe in thermal equilibrium. Then after that is the electroweak epoch.
This is when the weak nuclear force and the electromagnetic force split apart from each other.
Other way around. They're still combined into the electroweak. The strong force now splits off.
Okay, so the strong force splits off for them, and then after that, is when what happens next?
In that same epoch, that's when the Higgs field finally gets low temperature enough to start giving particles mass.
Giving particles mass. All right.
So this is the origin of mass at this point. And by the way, we're still not past 10 to the minus 12 seconds yet.
All right, what's
after
next?
that is the quark epoch.
All right. Let me see. 4. Quark epoch.
Yes. This is where the weak and electromagnetic forces finally split apart from each other. Let's see here. Yeah, quarks, electrons, and neutrinos are all being formed in large amounts. And in addition, the important bit is that around this time, there becomes an asymmetry in matter and antimatter. So matter and antimatter are colliding with each other, destroying each other, but in some process that we're not fully understanding right now, matter wins out. And that's around the time where that happens.
All right. What should I write here for 4B?
Matter dominates antimatter.
Matter dominates.
And to be fair, there are some models that put that in the electroweak epoch, but it's somewhere between the two.
Gabatron, don't be spamming in the comment section.
Let me know if you, when you guys need somebody with more than one atom expertise.
Yeah, no, life is much later down the list.
Eddie says, "I love being dominated." Me too, Eddie. I totally get it.
So much domination happening.
All right, so I think we should, for now, we'll keep it at this, and then we'll keep going next time we have free time. But we're at the end of the show now, and I need to go walk the dog. So, guys, Godless Engineer is going to be going live now. So go over to Godless's channel. I think he's going to start. I told him that I would be ending at 5, and so he's going to be starting at 5 here. Let me message him real quick and make sure that that's what's going on. Let's see, Terry. One of the worst. While I'm messaging him, I'm going to tell you guys one of the worst parts about. I'm so impatient. The new update for Starfield, and I keep talking about it because it's all I can think about right now, doesn't come out until April the 7th. Oh, you're going live now? You're good. Okay, you're good here. So yeah, everyone go over to Godless Engineers channel after the show's over, and you know, Bible guy raid. He knows already, but still say it anyways because representing. It does until April 7th, and now I've already pre-ordered it on the PS5. I have it on the Xbox, but I don't want to play it again until I'm playing it on the PlayStation. So now I gotta wait like 2 weeks. Actually, I gotta wait on my phone. I have a timer set. It 16 days until Starfield update. I have a special little calendar for it. And then so now I've got to find other things to like fill my time game wise and watching movies and stuff and doing lives. Thank God I'm doing
Cyberpunk.
The thing is, if I can't play something I'm going to get really into, because in 2 weeks I'm going to go back to Starfield. So I got to find something I can just play casually. But was gonna so probably Skyrim. I'll probably play Skyrim. But also I'm glad that I'm doing lives again, because if I had to do this while not doing lives, it would have taken forever. That week felt like it lasted a month, but I needed it. Anyways, so with that, I've been the Bible guy. Everyone follow, make sure you're following Quantonaut and Scientific Snitch. They do great work here on TikTok and covering abiogenesis and physics. Love their stuff to death. Can't do this without them. And I've been the Bible guy. Remember to keep reading, keep learning, and we'll see you all again Tuesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time. Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Born from dust and questioning fire, wielding truth like a sword of desire. Ancient scrolls and cosmic flame, he tears through myth, he breaks the chain. Echoes of prophets, the stars align, knowledge and thunder intertwine. Reason ascends where blind faith fell, he reads the word and he reads it well. The Bible guy, seeker of the light, through time and fire he writes the night, with reason's blade and wisdom's cry. The world shall hear the Bible guy. Scrolls of ages, words aflame, he dares to question every name. From Eden's dawn to Calvary's sky, he breaks the chains of every lie. Logos, Logos, the word and the flame. Reason shall rise, and truth has a name. The